Hello everybody and welcome to the BSR MX5 Championship round number 2 here at Brands Hatch Indy. We're going to get straight into it because we've had a few technical issues, but my name is Jack Oliphant and I'm joined by Reese Saunders. Reese, how the devil are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Jack. How about yourself?
Absolutely a tickety boot. Now, if you're wondering, we didn't coordinate this. This is an unfortunate, but we're not exactly Max Verstappen fans or McLaren fans or anything like that. We just so happen, well, you might be, Reese, to be fair.
Yeah, big Max fan. But yeah, no, next week in the notes, it's definitely talk about wardrobes first. Anyway, enough blathering on. I think we're about to jump straight into the action because qualifying is already underway.
Yeah, we are actually 6 minutes into qualifying, and so far it has double race victor from Donington Park just 1 week ago, Andy McEwen on pole position. Michael Seal is in second place. Third is, I believe, a race winner from last week in Tom Griffiths. Fourth is Adam Delmont, and fifth is James Neve. Now, we have unfortunately missed quite a large part of the qualifying today, Reese, but a lot of the protagonists from last week are coming on strong already.
Yes, no, you can see Andy McEwen picking up exactly where he left off at Donington Park. Obviously, he missed out in the TCR series on Thursday due to work commitments, but no, he's right back in the forefront of the action here at Brands Hatch Indy. Here's a shorter Indy layout as well, so qualifying times have been flying in fast and furious. It's only a 51-second lap. With 8 minutes to go, there's still, time for the drivers to get 8-9 laps even in still. So, yeah, expect it. Plenty to change, but Andy McEwen's got the early jump here with Michael Seal, actually, his year one teammate, running out the front row with him.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to commentate at Brands Hatch a couple of times, and actually this couple of weeks ago on MX5s, and one of the sort of stats that I like to bring up when commentating there at real life is the amount of people that are within a second of pole position. And I'm just having a look, and I think the top 23 today are all at the moment within that magic 1 second marker, which is quite astonishing, really. There you go. You can see it on the left-hand side, Andy's got a 51.32 under his belt, and I think you have to go all the way down. Potentially, it's not even showing it. Yeah, there we go. All the way down to Fiona Siddons at 927. Car all the way down in 23rd place to be within or to be outside that 1 second marker, and it just goes to show, Reese, that Brands Hatch, there's very little to get. There's sort of, everybody's very, very even, but even the slightest mistake can really sort of send you backwards.
That'll be something that'll be so key, especially in the 4 races we've got this evening, Jack. Is that if you can jump out front early, even get a second and a half gap. If there's not much variance in the lap times, which is exactly the pattern we're seeing here in qualifying, then it'll be so hard. If you do get a gap out front, maybe through people racing ahead of you, it's just going to be so hard to close the gaps on in. So consistency is key here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, and when we're talking about racing, though, and obviously little mistakes, even if you're going wheel to wheel with someone trying to take advantage of maybe a slightly slower driver up ahead, if you're in a long train of cars, you can easily get hung out to dry, can't you? Especially around corners like Graham Hill Bend, even Druids potentially. And so you have to be really careful. So although we're seeing nice close times in qualifying, at the end of the day, it's actually about your early racecraft, isn't it? To try and actually get the best out of your finishing position.
Definitely, it's all about spotting and acting on opportunities. As we've got a car that pointing the wrong way in Graham Hill Bend there in qualifying already. Yeah, it's about spotting and acting on those opportunities early in the race, but not losing too much time. Being clever with where you choose to attack. Because yes, as spectacular as it'll look doing a full lap side by side with somebody, if you end up losing a big chunk of time to the car in front, potentially it might limit where you end up at the very end of the race. Obviously, the races are short, they're sharp, they're 15 minutes. So once you lose that time, you don't have long to gain it back.
That was the 966 that you saw facing the wrong way outside of Graham Hill Bend, and that was Fox, Adam Fox, of course, spawned back to the pit lane now. I believe that is the AM Championship leader. Now, I don't have the championship standings up in front of me right now, but he had a very happy Donington Park, didn't he, just a week ago in that AM class, probably mixing it in amongst the pro-ams, just like he is here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, he'll be thrilled. He's only just over a quarter of a second away off pole position, just outside the top 10 at the moment in E11. So I'm sure he'll be chuffed to bits for that. I'm not quite sure how he ended up facing it the wrong way. Still Andy McEwen leading Michael Steele at the front with Griffiths and then Del third and fourth place and James Neal rounding out the top 5. So not much change, but a lot of guys it looks like are coming in to grab fresh tyres. So we'll have the final frenzy here in qualifying.
This is something that we've spat a bit last week, wasn't it, when we were at Donington Park? I imagine it'll be utilised a little bit more here at Brands Hatch because the in and the out lap is so much shorter. Do you reckon if you were in this session, Reese, would you go for a double stop almost, trying to get those fresh tyres on twice in a session?
Yeah, I'd go out at the start of the session, I'd do 5 minutes, 4 or 5 laps, come back in, do it again, and then I'd save myself for the very end of the to have 2 flying laps, 2 stabs at it. So I'd be wanting to cross the start finish line, probably wanting to be boxing in the next kind of minute or so, so that I can get those 2 laps in right at the very end. And I think it'd be a case of if you've got the freshest tyres on at the end and you're out last across the line, we can potentially see a late great flying lap for somebody here. Let's say.
Speaking of flying laps, we're actually looking at newcomer for this series. I'm not sure if Thor has been in around before, but the number 22, Thor Tuller, just trying to have a look. Oh, big puff of smoke that he's having to avoid there as the number 78 actually goes a little bit wide out of Graham Hill Bend. Now, I think Thor is in the Pro-Am category, if I'm correct. Currently all the way down in 22nd. Plenty of work to do, that's for sure, for Thor. But, it's nice to have some new faces dotting about the place here, isn't it, Reece?
Yes, we've got a couple of new entrants into the series today. We've touched on Thor Tuller. We've also got Mark Van Dalen in the number 33 car as well. Currently sat 17th in qualifying in the Pro class, though. So he'll be hoping to do a little bit better. Maybe he's not quite got his lap in just yet. Yeah, so a couple of new entrants, and I'm sure the 33 and a Dutch name like Van Dalen is no coincidence talking about Verstappen fans earlier in the broadcast.
Yeah, indeed, yes. I have to say, I'm still not wearing orange to support Mr. Darling, but it's nice to see, as I said, the new face coming fresh into BSR. I was actually going to race in this season, but then obviously Graham sent me a message saying, do you want to commentate? And I thought, you know what, I might as well earn a living rather than get furious at my wheel sat behind everybody in 25th position and hitting everyone off. So yes, I will jump on the commentary position, please. Mark Oliver in the number 999 as well. Now, where is Mark at the moment? I believe he is in the AM category and he is 19th. So a couple of drivers towards the rear end of the field here. Plenty of time to, well, I'll say plenty of time actually. It's only 2 minutes left to go. Let's round out the top 10 before we get going into the final few flying laps. Andy McEwen on pole position. Michael Seal joins him on the front row as it stands. Tom Griffiths in third, with fourth being Adam Delmont as the number 57 Year 1 car drives away into the pits. James Neve in fifth place, with Wayne Douglas is currently in sixth. Seventh is Adam McNally, with eighth being Luke Cooper. Jamie Gulliford rounding out the top 9, and rounding out the top 10 is Nick Clibbins. This is Adam McNally we're currently having a look at, coming out of Druid. And, it is Adam McNally, is coming out of Druids all the way down in 8th place at the moment. We'll be expecting a little bit better from him as we go into further into the session, moving up onto the final few laps. What's the plan here then, Reece, for a lot of these drivers? Is it Hail Mary time, knowing that unlike real life, you don't have to fix the car before race 1?
Yeah, it's true licky stamp and send it time. You've got your time in, you've got your banker laps in. It's now time to see what you can do. We've talked about how tightly packed the field is. The top 10's less than a quarter of a second apart. It's only a tenth and a half from P2 back to P10. So, if you can gain half a tenth, that might pull you up 5-6 positions, especially for somebody like Jamie Gulliford, who's leading our Pro-Am category already. If he can vault himself a little bit further up the grid, that just puts more and more cars in between him and McDonald there, who's second place in Pro-Am. As I say that, I can see somebody has improved. Yeah, Kip Stevens has now gone into P5 from what I can see. We've now got Lee Holmes in P6 as well. So a couple of late improvements here in this session. 20 seconds to go though.
Yeah, not many people improving in Sector 1 just yet, though, unfortunately. So I think that's Paddock Hill and Druid. So maybe Sector 2 is going to be a bit of a different story. Lee Holmes, I think, has just improved in Sector 2, currently in 6th position, like you just said. Might jump ahead of Kip Stevens if he can hook up the last couple of corners. We'll have to wait and see as we're actually watching Kip Stevens, who currently sits in 5th position. The checkered flag has dropped. A couple of drivers up ahead of him trying to work together, but what can Kip gain out of this one? A little bit of slipstream potentially, but it's not an improvement. He stays into 5th place. Lee Holmes also keeps in 6th position. No improvement there, and there doesn't seem to be many improvements up and down the field. So it looks like, well, our top two are already in the pit lane, Andy McEwen and Michael Seal. Clearly, don't think they can go any faster than what they've just done. Adam Delmont did set his fastest lap time on the previous lap he came across the line, 51.43. I don't think it was quick enough. No, it wasn't quick enough to get ahead of Tom Griffiths. It was quick enough to equal him, though, as far as I can tell. So it's very, very impressive. Well, there may have been a couple of thousand, actually. So very impressive from all these drivers. But the top, all the way down to 24th, separated by less than a second. So please do stick around on Year One TV to catch all the BSR MX5 action. Don't want to miss it. Wade Douglas just about to come across the line to finish off everybody taking the checkered flag. Doesn't improve on the lap time. So Reese, all the focus now turns to race 1.
Exactly, and we talked about how close the gaps would be. You've got gaps between Douglas, McNally and Cooper. It's a thousandth between each of them. Yeah, it's blinking you'll miss it stuff. But that's qualifying over, and we'll now be gridding up. So, Jack, if you'd like to take us away, I think we've got some new graphics to trial as well. So, if you'd like to run us through the grid.
Yeah, no, so the graphics are not to be believed, ladies and gentlemen. Apart from Andy McEwen on pole position, that's about where the truth stops. Well, actually, I think everybody who's in the odd positions on that graphic is actually true. Anyway, Andy McEwen on pole position. Michael Seal is in 2nd place. Tom Griffiths is in 3rd. 4th is Adam Delmont. 5th is Kip Stevens. Lee Holmes is in 6th. James Neven 7th. 8th, Wayne Douglas. 9th, Adam McNally. 10th is Luke Cooper. 11th, Jamie Gulliford. Nick Clibbers in 12th. Adam Fox is in 13th. Greg McDonald in 14th. 15th is Sam Smith. Liam Stimson in 16th. 17th, Mark Van Dalen, new to the series. 18th, Paul Cook. 19th, Mark Oliver. 20th, Douglas Stewart. 21st, Colin Sansom. 22nd, also new, Thor Tuller. 23rd, Julian Schroer. 24th, Fiona Siddons. 25th, Glenn Humberstone. 26th, Jason Cooper. 27th, Liam Silkstone. 28th, Chris Dixon. Rounding out the field in 29th place. Not sure if they're going to feature because I don't think they set a lap time in qualifying. But it is Andrew Withers in 29th, right at the back. Lovely big grid we've got here today, Reese. And on Brands Hatch Indy, such a small circuit, that's going to spell a little bit of trouble for someone at some point.
Yes, definitely. Paddock Hill Bend is a really tricky first corner as well. Obviously, it's off camber, it's downhill, but really the first breaking point into Druids as well should be particularly spicy. And I'm really looking forward to this. Sat here anticipating the green light any moment now.
Yep, hopefully everybody at home watching is enjoying and anticipating a fantastic race as well. Please do get involved on the YouTube chat. It'd be delightful to read your comments when the breaks come up. Remember, there are 4 15-minute races coming up. The first one dictated by qualifying. The 2nd, 3rd and 4th dictated by a random reverse grid draw as the lights are about to come on, Reese. It's about to get very exciting with Andy McEwen. Oh, there's a jump in the background there by number 78, Adam McNally. Wonder if he'll get penalised for that. There's also a gap on the grid. Adam McNally, I think, stalls a few drivers, actually getting very odd shapes as they come onto the throttle. Adam looks like Andy's going to lead, though, into turn 1 with Michael Seal, his teammate, into turn 1 in P2. Tom Griffiths holds on third position with Adam Delmont in fourth. The 000 is coming up with Liam Stimpson right in the thick of the melee going towards Druids. But look how the pole sitter has gotten away down to Graham Hill Bend with absolutely no pressure on them whatsoever. This has been a dream start to the evening for Andy. There are 3 reverse grids coming up though. Might not be plain sailing. We have only done about half a lap, so even this race might not be as plain sailing. But the top 4 have behaved very well.
Yeah, no, incredibly well behaved so far. But actually, we've already got Julian Schrewer in the pits, so it's been instant him on lap 1. And you took the words right out of my mouth there. A dream start for Andy McEwen. He's got Michael Seal there acting as rear gunner against Tom Griffiths, and Adam Delmont as Griffiths looking to the outside of Paddock Bend. No way through there. He's right on the bumper, and he's got his teammate right behind him as well. Griffiths needs to know attack is the best form of defence as they head up into Druids just now. But yeah, Michael Seal still holding on to that P2. 1 lap in the books. Probably get about 14 more as we look further down in the field. You can see the Triple Oak sidecar there of Luke Stimpson looking to go around the outside of the 966. I believe that to be Adam Fox. He's going to get the switch back through Graham Hill Bend. And yeah, as Van Dalen's also coming through past Fox as well. Serious newcomer. He's made a great start from P17 on the grid all the way up to P12. It looks like Adam McNally has pitted in for his stop-go penalty. He's all the way back in P24, so it looked like he jumped the start there, Jack, as he's just coming back out now. Hopefully not in front of the leaders, though. It's a tricky pit lane exit at the best of times here at Brands Hatch, especially with a large field of MX5s.
Adam McNally is a very experienced racer on iRacing. I'm sure he knows better than to try and get in the way. Looks like he's picked the perfect spot to get out there. I don't think it disrupted anybody too much. And in fact, he can just get his head down, try and put in some fastest laps maybe. Try and get a point. That one. Oh, big move up the inside there. Now, who are we on board with? Nick Clibbins. And that means that'll be James Neve. I don't know whether that was actually a dive up the inside into Graham Hill Bend or whether he was already defending. We just couldn't quite see him with the angle of the onboard. Going through Surtees and McLaren's now and into clearways, really hard on the brakes to try and get the car turned in. Done this track a couple of times in a slightly high-powered car in real life, and I tell you what, that braking zone is ridiculously difficult to get right, especially in a twitchy car like the MX5. The rear end just always wants to run away from you, and you have to try and get on the power really early to have any hope going in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Speaking of which, all of the top 8 look like they've absolutely nailed it, as there's a little move up the inside, I think, because one driver is getting washed out. Now, who was that? Was that Lee Holmes potentially getting a little bit hung out towards Druid? I can't quite see, unfortunately. There is the Excite car that we were on board with. But at the moment, Andy McEwen still leads with Michael Seal, Tom Griffiths and Adam Delmont. The fight for second place, Reese, is really heating up.
Yes, there's a couple of car gap from McEwen back to Seal. It's not a massive gap, but then yeah, you've got Seal and you've got Popo's Excite cars all over him and all over each other as well. I don't think there's any formation flying or team orders happening there. Michael Seal defending the inside, being smart there, and then he comes back across to the racing line. But you can see almost on each other's bumper. Saw Michael Seal utilising bumper drafting in one of the races at Donington Park last week. Maybe that's something the Excite guys try. Oh, they get all squirrely under the brakes up into Druids. 2 wide between Griffiths and Delmont. No position changes though. Yeah, no, it's the right barrage that Michael Seal's having to withstand right now. You've got the 88 tech car of Lee Holmes keeping a watching brief on this as well.
I think the back marker we can just see up ahead is the number 999 of Mark Oliver. I could be wrong. We'll have to wait until we obviously see a little bit more clearly. Top 5 are together. That is the number 35 of Lee Holmes. Really getting pulled into this battle more than anything, isn't he? He's not particularly got the pace of the top 4, but because the fight for second, third and fourth have been fighting so hard, all of a sudden you may well see a top 10 train again.
Yeah, the field will just naturally compress because you can't go any faster than the car in front. You can't drive through them in a braking zone. It looked like Tom Griffiths getting all over the back of Michael Steele as we cut up. And you've got, is that Adam Fox there trying to get back past Mark Van Dorn with Salem places earlier on. They're still right with Luke Stimpson in the Excite car as well. And you've got the number 10 car just behind them of Paul Cook as well. So as we come down through Graham Hill Bend, there's fights up and down the field. You've still got Jamie Gulliford in P9 leading the Pro-Am class, but right behind him on the road and in class you've got Craig McDonald as well, currently running in P10 overall. And then, as we've already touched, you've We've got Adam Fox currently leading the AM class and also fighting the pro of Mark Van Dalen, as we've seen as well. So great fights up and down the field as they look like they're going 3 wide past the back marker, going to Paddock Hill Bend. That'll be very, very exciting. Mark Oliver's done a great job getting out of the way. He's gone through. Oh, there's been contact. There's been contact. Who's that? Is that James Neve and Tom Griffiths? I see tumbling down the order. Oh, wow. Hopefully we'll get a replay of that. Not quite sure what happened there. Yeah, a lot of places lost. James Neve, he's all the way down. I think he's had to go to the pits. Tom Griffiths currently being shown as 13. A disaster there in Paddock Hill Bend. And that might have caused a bit of separation at the front. We've got a big gap for Andy McEwen as well. He's 1.3 seconds now clear of Michael Steele. You've got for 8 tenths back to Adam Delmont. So it's really broke the front of our field up right now for us. I'm sure Andy McEwen's licking his lips right now in his visor.
There's that's a big bit of drama, isn't it, in the first race of the evening here with 8.5 minutes to go. It's a bit of a shame, though, from a neutral perspective, isn't it, Reece? Because we were hoping that this would keep building and building. We'd have a big train of cars all trying to fight for the race lead, but it seems to have dissipated somewhat, unfortunately. Victim being Tom Griffiths, who is now back into the pits and is in 21st position and only continues to drop. Looks like he's crabbing quite substantially the number 76. So there's a big shame for Tom Griffiths, but just looked like maybe trying something into Paddock Hill Bend and just didn't quite come off for him, unfortunately. And Adam Delmont has moved up a place into 3rd, then Lee Holmes has moved up 2 positions into 4th. Skip Stevens has remained in his top 5 positions. Nice and tight, though, is the number 10 of Paul Cook that we're currently on board with. Just ahead of him is Adam Fox, Mark Van Dalen, Liam Simpson, Craig McDonald that Reece was covering a little bit earlier. So as you said, Reece, everywhere you look, there is a little bit of action, a little bit of spice, a little bit of drama and a storyline building for every single one of these drivers here at Brands Hatch, which is nothing short of what we expected.
No, indeed, it's been fantastic. Now that Adam Delmont's got a little bit of fresh air in front of him, pumped the fastest lap of the race in. He's done a 51.4. Compare that to 51.78 for Michael Steele last time by, and you'll see that. And there's contact. I think that's Van Dalen, Fox, and Paul Cook. Adam Fox has gone round. That's our AM class leader as well. He's still leading, but I think Jonas Diddens is about to come by and take the class lead from Adam Fox. They do indeed. So you've now got Fox tumbling down the order. Hopefully he's not got too much damage. Hopefully he can continue from there. Jonas Diddens coming all the way through into 13th place now in the AM class victory for her. Van Dalen's still running. He's in P11. And Paul Cook has managed to get through that fairly unscathed. He's in P10. There's a big gap now from those to Luke Simpson in P9. Jamie Godford's still winning Pro-Am currently.
I like to always give a shout out to the driver who's gained the most amount. Oh, Michael Seal, where's he going? Michael Seal tumbling down the order, and that is why he's all the way down to 9th place, and something has happened at Graham Hill Bend. Now, that wasn't anything to do with our race leader, because that is still his teammate Andy McEwen. Lee Holmes has jumped up 4 places. He's overtaken Adam Delmont and Michael Seal. And Michael Seal was in 2nd. Adam Delmont was in 3rd. Delmont is still in 3rd, but Lee Holmes has jumped all of them up to 2nd. So you get the impression, Reece, just by basing that on the pure sort of timing data, we could argue, because we didn't get to see what happened. Maybe there was a coming together between 3rd and 2nd. And Adam Delmont isn't finished with trying to get 2nd place here, is he? Because Lee Holmes now overtaking him after what we assume is the melee last lap at Graham Hill Bend. Not necessarily to what Adam Delmont is wanting. So he is fighting nice and hard. He's got Kip Stevens in his rearview mirrors, a driver you never want to see in your rearview mirrors. You know Kip's going to give it his all every single time he gets out in the car. And but at the moment, the top 3 just seem to have that little bit of extra pace.
You indeed. Actually, Adam Delmont was giving Lee Holmes the bumper as they come through clearways. Now they're coming through it. Adam Fox just taking back the lead though as we cut away, passing Fiona Siddons for the AM class lead. Both of those in the any liveried Year 1 cars. Both cars looking great in like the Art Deco style. Yeah, Adam Fox back into lead of the AM class. And we've still got Jamie Gulliford leading the way from Craig McDonald in Pro-Am. You've got a right melee of cars around them just here. In fact, they're right on the back of the podium sitters. You could see a Pro-Am class car actually maybe fighting for top 5, maybe even the podium here, depending on what happens in front. Yeah, Adam Delmont has got past Lee Holmes now, and he's got plenty of pace in that car, so he may be able to just start to scarper away, but the slipstream should help Lee Holmes stay definitely, well, I say, in his tyre tracks. He's got this lovely rearward facing shot back to the front of that 88 Tech car. He's got the run, you can see him gaining. He's going to look to the outside for Paddock Hill Bend. We're going to lose him potentially for a moment. I say, neither of them make it to the curb on the apex. Oh, Delmont's gone wide, he's in the gravel. Will that invite Lee Holmes up the inside into Druids? Not quite, Jack. But no, fantastic action with just under 5 minutes to go.
He probably would have allowed Lee Holmes to actually get up the inside, but Lee missed the apex as well, so almost as bad as each other as they go through Graham Hill. No track limits clearly in use there, unlike real life brands. That's where they have a lovely little sensor to prove that you always are going on track limits. Caught me out far too many times. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think you said that Adam Delmont has a lot of pace in that car. He's clearly proving it, because even though Lee Holmes has that slipstream and is making Delmont defend a little bit, he's eked out probably about 0.2 of a second, which is just enough to not have to defend going into any of the corners just yet. So with 5 laps to go, Adam Delmont, although he does need to hit his apexes, going through Paddock Hill especially, because he's going to leave himself vulnerable up towards Druids. Not close enough just yet, but Lee Holmes will know that is a potential weak spot for Adam Delmont, and we could see a little lunge later in the race. There is our race leader, though. Absolutely no pressure whatsoever on him at the moment, or no pressure from a car behind, put it that way. He's probably got an awful lot of pressure sitting on his shoulders that he's building up for himself. But Andy McEwen, double race winner at Donington, will be absolutely delighted with how his race has gone so far. He's probably checked in his mirrors every lap or so just to make sure that the gap is still as it was when he last looked, and if anything, it just keeps on increasing. Reese, it's a lovely position to be in.
Yes, no, Andy McEwen, he's got the best seats in the house right now. And I don't want to hit him with a commentator's curse, but he has not put a wheel wrong or race so far. He's got to be thrilled with how it goes. Yeah, you can see Lee Holmes. Oh, does he have a look? I've got to think, with 4 laps to go, Lee Holmes is bound to go and have a send at some point into Druids. He always looks just tantalising close enough. As the timer ticks on down, you've got to fancy him to have a crack. Adam Delmont can't break this slipstream.
You have to fancy him, that's absolutely correct, because I think we can agree, Reese, that if either of us win the car, and we saw potentially Adam Delmont missing the apex into Druids or into Paddock Hill or anything like that, you'd be thinking, oh, there's an opportunity there. I think I can get this position back. A long season, 10 rounds. We didn't get to bring you the calendar. Maybe we can bring you that between race 1 and race 2. But there's a long, old way to go, that's for sure, as they hit the brakes going down towards Paddock Hill. Both of them nailing the apex there. Lovely little kiss of the apex there by Adam Delmont. Even if he does run just a touch wide, doesn't seem to hamper him for the time being. Back end stepping out, nice late apex, lean on the power, unwind the steering wheel, and get down to Graham Hill Bend as quickly as you possibly can. Nice clipping of the apex, run as nicely wide as you can, because, as I mentioned, there are no track limits. Going into Surtees, you can use a little bit of that outside line. Again, clipping the curb, it's nice and flat. Might as well do it, unlike Silverstone curbs and the F1 at the weekend. Again, going into clearways, just hooking up and trying to get the car in a straight line as early as possible to, again, open the throttle up as early as possible. Now, Adam Delmont has been in second place for quite some time now, Reese. I would say 2 or 3 laps. Lee Holmes has had that opportunity to get in the slipstream, but he just doesn't seem to have the overall pace on the second place now.
Adam Delmont slowly, kind of half a tenth a lap, just starting to edge away. The gap's now up to 3.5 tenths as we're looking at them go through. We've actually just tracked back, so this is on board with Douglas Stewart. I think he's trying to hold off Glenn Humberstone in the Pro-Am class just here. Back in battle, so they're fighting over P17 right now. Looks like is Humberstone going to give it a try? And then we're looking at also Liam Silkson here, and he's got is that? Oh, I thought that was Adam McNally behind him there. Oh, there's a lapped car of Adam McNally there, but he's a lap down, so he'll just be keeping his nose clean. Liam might let him go. Obviously, they're not really fighting over anything at all. And it looks like Andy McNally really just want that track position still over him just there. Oh, that was a timing screen glitch. I thought we'd lost Lee Holmes for a moment there as well. But here we are, on to the final lap. Andy McEwen, home and clear just now.
Yeah, so Andy doesn't have anything to worry about, but Adam Delmont just behind was actually going a very, very defensive line into Druids. We'll have to wait and see what happens going into potentially clearways. It's going to be a big lunge. There is an overtaking opportunity in clearways. I just haven't seen it happen very often in the sim tonight. But we have to focus on our race leader. He's going to be a triple race winner so far this season. It's Andy McEwen. Rounds out the final corner as long as he doesn't put his big foot down and rip the rear wheels off the rims. And he hasn't, thanks probably to the 1.8 litre not having too much power. But he comes across the line, weaving nicely to take a third victory here in the BSR MX5 Championship this season. The first here at Brands Hatch. Adam Delmont comes across the line to take second place eventually, with third being Lee Holmes. Kip Stevens come home in fourth place, with fifth being Nick Clibbins. Up 7 positions, very impressive by Nick Clibbins. Jamie Gulliford across the line in 6th. 7th, Craig McDonald, Liam Stimson in 8th. Michael Seal ended up coming in the top 10 in the end. Good going from him, I'd say. Top 10 rounded out by Paul Cook, and we'll be able to bring you the full order a little bit later on, once everybody has completed their last lap, of course. But Reese, it wasn't necessarily a grandstand finish, especially for our race leader, but there were battles and stories emanating throughout that pit.
Yes, no, plenty of action up and down the field throughout the race. A few incidents as well, especially Graham Hill Bend seemed to be the focus point, as well as Paddock Hill Bend as well. So yeah, plenty of incidents in the mid part of the race, just slowly stretching out the field a little bit as the race went on. But no, plenty of entertainment all the way through.
Yeah, a couple of drivers I wanted to keep an eye out on. Tom Griffiths, obviously, he ended up in 24th position. We will give you the full rundown, as I said, in a couple of minutes' time. In fact, we're going to have a look at as well. Where is he? 9th place, Michael Seal. Now, again, I said that he's just done quite a good job there, Reese, because it's difficult when you end up, obviously, having a spin or not really coming together, potentially, whether it's your fault or not. To recover that drive is fairly impressive.
Yeah, he's done well. He's got himself P9, and that should hopefully give him good track position when we start to figure out where we're going to be with the reverse grid for race 2. So the important thing is in this BSR series is not to end up more than a lap down, because if you're more than a lap down, you don't get involved in the reverse grid. So Michael Seal, I know we won't be happy with the incident as it happened in Graham Hill. Say we didn't see it, so we don't know if there was any blame to be attributed or if there was any other cars involved. But yeah, he won't be happy with it, whatever it was. But it could be a whole lot worse for him.
Yeah, we are waiting to hear for the reverse grid, of course. If you're new to BSR, you don't know how it works. I did mention it once or twice during at the beginning of that race, but it's a 4-race evening. 4 15-minute race, I should say, as well, actually. So we're actually going to pull the reverse grid up, actually, as we speak. So hopefully we'll be able to... Oh, we've got a spinning wheel. It's a throwback. This is what it used to be when I was doing it. But it looks a bit more fancy now, it has to be said. So as Graham Sesford, our producer, gives the old wheel a spin, and it's going to be a full reverse grid. And I tell you what, Reese, your face is exactly what I'm feeling right now. And I'm sure that's what everybody's feeling right now. Full reverse grid here, 29 cars on offer. Obviously, it's not going to be the full 29 cars. We'll explain that in a minute. But that's exactly the sort of thing we like to see at BSR.
Yeah, no, what an incredible, incredible turn of events with the spinning wheel. We've got the podium just up now as well, Jack, if you'd like to run through that for us.
Yeah, Andy McEwen doing his best modelling gig, the impression that he possibly can in first place. Adam Delmont in second, and Lee Holmes rounds out the top 3. Unfortunately, Lee Holmes didn't turn up to have his picture taken at the latest photo shoot, so he hasn't been able to get a graphic. We'll sort that out, I assure you, for next week. But a fantastic podium there. 3 drivers all deserving to be in that top 3. And just to confirm the rundown of the entire results, I will read them out as they don't have numbers next to them. Andy McEwen in first place, Adam Delmont in second, Lee Holmes in third, Kip Stevens was in fourth with Nick Clibbins in fifth, 6th was Jamie Gulliford, Craig McDonald was in 7th, with 8th being Liam Stimson, 9th, Gulliford obviously, is the Pro-Am victor, 9th was Michael Seal, top 10 rounded out by Paul Cook, 11th was Mark Van Dalen, 12th was Liam Silkstone, 13th Thor Tuller, 14th Adam Fox, 15th, Fiona Siddons. Adam Fox was the AM class victor in 14th place. Apologies, Fiona Siddons was in 15th. 16th, Sam Smith. 17th, Douglas Stewart. 18th, Glenn Humberstone. 19th, Mark Oliver. And the top 20 rounded out in the end by Adam McNally. 21st was Chris Dixon. 22nd was Luke Cooper. 23rd, Wayne Douglas. 24th, Tom Griffith. James Nevers in 25th, with 26th being Colin Sansom. 27th, Julian Schroer. 28th, Andrew Withers, with Jason Cooper rounding out the back of the field. Now, we had a full reverse grid, but that is everyone who was on the lead lap or +1. So there were 18 laps in total completed. You can be on the 17th lap and finish, and you will still be eligible for the reverse grid. That means Adam McNally in 20th position will be on pole for race number 2. Andy McEwen, who won, will be in 20th place, even though there's 29 drivers. It's a little bit confusing, but just roll with it. Reese, that is going to set up a fantastic race, and I reckon Adam McNally, on pole position, he'll be fancying himself here.
He'll be hoping to just check out, basically. That'll be his plan from the start. He'll hope to just get a clean getaway, as opposed to the getaway he got in race 1. If you remember, he jumped the start. That's what put him a lap down. He didn't have any instance. He just jumped the start and had to do a stop-and-go penalty. And I'm going to cut away, actually. I believe we might have our race 1 winner potentially about to join us for a quick interview between races. We're just seeing if we can get hold of him. Hopefully he's going to answer his phone or answer his Discord at least. Yeah, apparently we've got race 1 winner on the way to us, Jack.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear how his photo shoot went for that absolutely stunning photo on the podium. But no, and also he was away for the TCR this Thursday. Obviously he was in Europe commentating on TCR, but we'll let that one slide. His priorities are all wrong, but whatever. Andy, are you with us?
Yeah, hi guys, can you hear me?
Hey, we can. Hopefully you didn't just hear all the nasty things I was just saying, but there you go. Congratulations on race 1 victory.
Heard every word, Jack. I will get you back at some point. Yeah, not a bad race, that. I don't know what's going on here. 3 wins already. This is very out of character.
I was going to say, that one was actually arguably bordering on boring, potentially, because really, you didn't have anything to do.
Well, I wish I could say it was boring. I now get it when racing drivers win a race by a couple of seconds and say that it was actually a lot harder than it looked. I totally get that. The car felt really awful. Had no grip at the front or the rear. Made all sorts of silly mistakes. And not for the first time. I have to thank my teammate Michael Steele, because if he hadn't got a bit involved, shall we say, with some drivers behind, I don't think I'd have ever built the gap up. So thank you to him for being a good rear gunner, and yeah, really happy to be racking up the points.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. We didn't see what happened to Michael Seal or any of those incidents. Did you catch it in your rearview mirror?
I saw a lot of tyre smoke and heard a lot of swearing. That's about all I can tell you. So exactly what happened, I don't know. But I know he was battling with the Excite guys. Tom, I think, tried to make a move on him that didn't work, and then I think maybe Adam did the same. So yeah, that allowed me to build up the gap. And but you know, that's my least favourite scenario as a driver to be in is leading with a bit of a gap, because my brain just switches off and I start planning the post-race speech, I think, a little bit too early. So I was quite grateful to see the checkered flag.
I was going to say, it's if you're saying the car is not behaving as you would want, are all the Year 1 cars on the same setup, or do they differ slightly?
I think there are a few differences. I know I'm on the Old Faithful that I've been running for a while, but with a slight tweak, because the car was very understeery in practice, but then it seemed way more understeery in the race. So the thing with these MX5s is you can run the same setup pretty much at any track, but if the track temperature is wildly different to what it was last time, then that can really make a big difference. So I think that's all it was. I hope that's all it was, because everyone did seem to be sliding around a bit. I think just a high track temperature. So hopefully it's a bit more overcast and cool for race 2.
Fingers crossed for you. We're about to jump into the session, Andy, as I'm sure you are. So one last question. You're starting from 20th place on the next race. It was a full reverse grid that Graham very kindly pulled out for you. What's the ethos here?
Yeah, I think I'm going to fall out with you, like, you know, because you were teasing me before I started the interview, and you've drawn the full reverse grid. So, do you know what? I actually enjoy these races a bit more. As long as you survive the first lap, they're really, really good fun. But it's that first bit that's quite a challenge, especially on cold tyres. There's always a few people losing it. So, yeah, if I can get through the first few laps, then I'm hopeful I can get some more points on the board. But it's going to be a sketchy first few laps, I reckon.
Well, good luck for it. If you're a double race victor by the end of tonight, I think we'll all be very impressed, because Brands Hatch is an extremely hard circuit to do it on. We'll let you get into the practice and the session, Andy.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Enjoy.
And that was a quick chat with our race winner from race number 1 there. Reese, he seemed like he was in good spirits, as you can probably expect, but particularly interesting, the good spirits about starting in 20th with a car that he's not entirely happy with.
Yeah, I mean, rather him than me. I'm glad I'm this side of the microphone and he's that side of the racetrack there with that one. As I say, I think he'll have it all figured out. It'll be one of those ones where he's got to survive those first few laps. Obviously, he's got some quick guys in front of him. We saw Adam Delmont pushing him and closing the gap down in race 1, and with Lee Holmes keeping in tow as well. All of a sudden, they're the cars that start ahead of him, so there aren't going to be any easy overtakes for Andy in the first couple of laps at least. Obviously, the field is a little bit mixed up. There's a few instances in race 1, and then it's such a big reverse as well that I'm sure there'll be some frantic action, especially early on in race 2. So Andy, he's got to keep his nose clean. For me, that'd be the key to his race.
Yeah, absolutely does. Yeah, so it's, as you said, going to be very, very interesting indeed. We touched on it just before we had the interview with Andy there, though, saying that I believe it was Adam McNally on pole position for this particular race. He said he was going to check out, well, he's going to hope to check out. What's actually your prediction for his race start and everything here, Reese?
Well, providing he doesn't jump it again, I can see Andy McNally winning this one. That's my bold prediction. Yeah, sorry, Adam McNally. Apologies, but yes, I can see him checking out, and I can see him winning this one. Should he get off the line nice and clearly, which is a big should, because he's already got it wrong once this evening.
We're going to go for a very quick 2-minute break so we can potentially go to the toilet, get a drink, everything that you're probably going to do within the next 2 minutes as well. We'll be back for race number 2, top 20 reverse grid. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, and well, we've given you a 2-minute break from our faces and voices, but we're back to give you more action from the BSR MX5 Championship. Round 2, we're here at Brands Hatch Indy. Race 1, was a little bit frantic. It looked like it was going to build up to a bit of a crescendo. We never, unfortunately, got to see the last couple of laps with those almost 10-car train that almost we were promised in the first couple of laps. But reverse grids, they often are a little bit more explosive really early on.
Definitely. And what will happen is the field will explode into life at the start. It'll be frantic. Hopefully there won't be too much twisted metal, but can't always rule it out in these MX5s. And then the field, they'll start to figure themselves out. They'll start to get into their own rhythms, get into their own packs, and then the field will start to compress again, hopefully towards the end, and give us that grandstand finish that maybe we didn't quite get in race one, but we weren't short of action throughout the race, so I don't feel shortchanged at all.
No, and one driver who certainly is happy that there was no grandstand finish is race one victor Andy McEwen. Adam Delmont was in second place. He probably had the most interesting race out of the top five. Liam Holmes ended up in third as well. So those two drivers, very interesting really, Reese, because unlike our racer, they had a very, very busy race. Adam Delmont particularly was trying to throw moves left, right and centre. Apparently, potentially not all of them came off, and to the unfortunately caused the likes of Michael Seal and potentially Tom Griffiths ended up off the road. So there's a couple of drivers that are going to be recovering here in this second race, trying to get their evening back on track.
Definitely. Obviously, no one other than Adam McNally trying to recover his evening. Obviously, he's landed right on his feet with this reverse grid. So he'll be hoping for just a nice clean start away into Paddock Hill Bend. I actually didn't see who got P2 in the reverse grid, so I'm not sure who's going to be challenging him. But I'm sure there will be a challenge happening. I can see the cogs turning there, Jack. So I can't recall. But we'll run through the grid in just a moment anyway. We're just over a minute away before our drivers start making their way to the start finish.
That's my I'm pretending to think, but everyone knows I can't really remember face. So I will absolutely just run down the order, I think, in a couple of minutes' time. I think that will save everyone the embarrassment. I'm going to go ahead on a whim and think it was potentially Fiona Siddons. She was Fiona was definitely in the top five for the reverse grid. So if I'm right on that one, I'll be very, very pleased with myself, has to be said. We should be about 45 seconds away from getting into the grid for race number 2. So if you haven't already, this is a fantastic opportunity to like and subscribe and do all the usual things I'm sure you see on every single video asking you to do. But this time for this current video and Year One TV as a whole. If you're watching this on a BSR channel, then by all means give them a like and a follow as well, because they obviously deserve your support just as much as Year One do. So a big thank you to everybody who's already tuned in, commenting, all that sort of lovely stuff, and hopefully we get a little bit more interaction from you guys on the stream as well, because at the end of the day, Reese gets bored of talking. Oh, he's actually that way, isn't he? Reese gets bored of talking with me constantly, so he'd like to have a little bit more interaction. Yeah, it's a bit confusing, isn't it? Because anyway, he's over there. So please do like and subscribe, obviously, to the Year One TV channel, because it's absolutely fantastic having you down here on the regular occasion. And of course, Reese, you're on the BSR TCR on Thursday night as well.
Yes, so it's a bit of a warm-up tonight. I've got a double dose of action here at Brands Indy. Obviously, the TCRs, they're a little bit quicker, so the racing isn't always quite as close together as it is in the MX5s. But yeah, it's no less frantic, and obviously front-wheel drive cars as well. So looking forward to that on Thursday night. But here we are, we're going to the grid now, and we can see Adam McNally on pole. And if you'd like to take it away with the rest of the grid chat.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Adam McNally is on pole position. However, I was very wrong with Fiona Siddons. It's Mark Oliver on second place, Glenn Humberstone in third, fourth is Douglas Stewart, fifth is Sam Smith, and outside the top five, unlike what I predicted, is sixth Fiona Siddons. Adam Fox is in seventh, with eighth being Thor Tuller on the first day here. Ninth, Liam Silkstone. 10th is Mark Van Darlen. 11th is Paul Cook. Michael Seal is in 12th in the end, with 13th being Liam Stimpson. 14th, Craig McDonald. 15th is Jamie Gulliford. 16th is Nick Clibbins. 17th, Kip Stevens. Lee Holmes was in 18th. Adam Delmont in 19th, with 20th being Andy McEwen. As the lights come on, unfortunately, I won't have time to get to the rest of the field, but you can see them on the left-hand side. Lights come on, engine notes are rising, and for the second time here at Brands Hatch Indy for the BSR Championship, we are underway. Apparently Fiona Siddons may have jumped the start, but one driver who didn't jump the start this time was Adam McNally. That's why Adam was all the way down in 20th. He jumped the start in race number 1. He hasn't had any such problems this time round. Mark Oliver's followed him through. which means that those two actually have a nice little gap as Glenn Humberstone tries to defend into Druids with Sam Smith and Douglas Stewart very interested in trying to overtake behind them. They're almost going 3 wide down into Graham Hill Bend, probably the last corner you want to go 3 wide in here at Brands Hatch. It's going to be very interesting to see who comes off the corner the best. The number 66 looks like he's getting a little bit sideways towards the rear end of the field as well, but the top two certainly have pulled away here, Reese.
Definitely, they've broke clear. McNally and
Oliver
leading. Oh, carnage in clearways. There's a car around. Oh no. Yeah, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 cars there, all caught up. I can see Jamie Gulliford tumbling down the order. Lee Holmes looks like he's involved too, as well as Mark Van Dalen, looking like he's in P20. So we'll see who's been caught up in that when that all washes on out. Big instant there in clearways on lap 1. As you mentioned, probably one of the trickiest braking zones in the country, Jack.
It is very difficult, and people do like to have a little bit of a lunge up there if things go slightly awry for the driver in front. Who we on board with here? Then it looks like battle for the sort of mid-pack as the grid has been separated. It's the number 13 Nick Clibbins trying to go around the outside of Craig McDonald and just about getting away with it as well. Very, very unusual move. Very impressive move, it has to be said, by Nick Clibbins. Currently up 8 positions from their starting order. Michael Seal has been turning around another driver, I believe. Glenn Humberstone, unfortunately, has been... Fiona Siddons has gone back to the pits as well, so a couple of drivers falling victim early on here in the reverse grid. Those 2 drivers just passing through your field division there, going towards Paddock Hill. They are not back markers. They're the race leaders, would you believe it? Michael Seal is the driver you're currently watching go through Paddock Hill. All the way up 9 places into the top 3, on board with, well, not on board, but watching Mark Oliver, second place in the 999 car. The reason why that is quite impressive, Mark Oliver is an AM-class driver, Reese. Very impressive.
Yes, I think it's Mark Oliver's first race in the championship. Well, we've mentioned we've got a few new starters this week. I think Mark Oliver's one of them, or he certainly wasn't at Donington Park last week, and he's keeping Adam McNally fairly honest at the moment. The gap's just under a second. He's got 4 seconds back to Michael Seal in 3rd place. And I say he's leading the AM category. You've got to go all the way back down to P19 to Adam Fox, or P19 now to Chris Dixon, because they've just got places for the next AM Challenger. So he's got to have that one in the books. Craig McDonald currently leading Pro-Am as well in P4. There's a gap between him, 1 car with Nick Clibbins, and 4 Tuller, currently P6, just down to P7 as Adam Delmont goes on by, second in class in Pro-Am as well. He's got Luke Stimpson behind him in the Triple O machine, the Excite Racing car, who's 3rd in Pro-Am and also 8 on the road at the moment. Is that the 927 who's a lap down? Yeah, that's Fiona Siddons, just letting them go on by after she served her jump stop penalty. Oh, she's been tagged around in Surtees as well. It's gone from bad to worse for her, but she gets it rolling again. I think the car's okay. Maybe a little bit of rear bumper damage as she's letting through the Year 1 machine there on its way through the 3rd machine of Van Dalen. So, but she's back up and running. And yeah, she's just letting the lead lap cars head on by as McNally sets the fastest lap of the race out the front of the field as well.
Not surprising to see Adam McNally setting those very, very quick times. Also, a couple of drivers obviously to keep an eye out on. Adam Delmont, 2nd place, I believe, in race number 1, if I'm remembering that correctly. I'm all of a sudden second-guessing myself, but up 13 places into 6th, so almost cracking into the top 10. There is the number 78 of Adam McNally, leading the way with absolutely no problems whatsoever. Just having a look, where is, as 3rd place man, Lee Holmes, all the way down in 17th. Lee was obviously 3rd in race number 1, hasn't exactly gone his way so far in race number 2. There he is on your screen now, just behind Mark Van Dalen, who, again, like Reese mentioned earlier, not having the best of races, all the way down in 16th place. And the other drivers have made some big gains. Well, Luke Cooper, Tom Griffiths and James Neve, they are 10th, 11th and 12th respectively, all have gained 12 places since the start of this race. A lot of them have been due to other drivers falling off the circuit, but still very impressive indeed. James Neve is the driver in the number 1 car, with Andy McEwen, race 1 winner, just behind him. And just getting up to the back of this lovely train, Reese, are we going to see some moves being pulled out by the Year 1 team?
Potentially so. I don't know if any team orders will be in place here. We know the boss is currently busy producing, so he's not going to be calling the strings. That's for sure. Pulling the strings, that's for sure. But it looks like Andy McEwen might have a little bit of pace here on James Neve as he's fallen off the back of the pack. So we're looking like potentially moving to Paddock Hill Bend. James Neve goes to the outside. Is Andy McEwen going to send one up the inside? Yes, he does. And I think James Neve lets him go there. A little bit of smart team play going on there. Andy McEwen up to P12, our race 1 winner. He's got plenty of cars in front of him. And subject to cars in front of him just there, we've got Craig McDonald in P4, leading the Prime class as mentioned. He's got the 13 car Nick Clibbons behind him. And then Adam Delmont looking to make even more places. He's having a mighty race too as Adam Delmont. Charging up, is he what, 13 places now? He's probably the highest gains so far out of anyone. He's looking to add a couple more scamps to his collection right now.
He is the most gained out of anyone, actually, with 13, couple of drivers on 12 and 11, but he is top of the pile as the time stands, and they're all obviously fighting with Craig McDonald, who in himself has gained 10 places, but I think he's about to lose one. Or is he actually? Around the outside, tries to go Nick Clibbins, and we saw Nick do that at Graham Hill. We've seen him do it at Paddock Hill as well. Very, very nice move. As the number 77, Adam Delmont, tries to actually replicate him. Everyone's going around the outside of Craig McDonald, it seems, at the moment. They're all getting a bit held up. Is that Fiona Siddons getting in the way? The 97, indeed it is. So Fiona, a back marker, is trying their best not to get in the way, but equally is unfortunately just holding up a few drivers. As I said, not necessarily their fault. They're trying to get out of the way as best they can. Number 99, no, sorry, not 99, number 999, Mark Oliver, still doing a pretty sterling job. The fact we haven't seen them in quite some time, I suppose the old adage, no news is good news, is probably the phrase of the day for Mark Oliver at the moment.
Yes, no, Mark Oliver in P2 currently. Starting to lose a little bit of ground to Michael Seal in P3. So the gap's now a second and a half, and we're only halfway through this race. So Michael Seal might be looking just to improve his position. And then you've got the very quick Nick Clibbons and Adam Delmont behind him round out the top 5. So are charging hard. So Mark Oliver, he's got to stay focused. But I'd say he's laughing all the way to the bank, at least for the moment in the AM class. A full 17 places ahead of P2. There is Adam Fox in P19, who's got back ahead of Chris Dixon since the last time we checked in with them. Mark Oliver in the 88 Tech car doing a stand-up job currently so far at Brands Hatch.
Getting caught, though, by a Michael Seal, who obviously, if you cast your mind back about half an hour, lots of people remember that he was actually in second place. In fact, Andy McEwen thanks him quite a lot in his post-race interview because Michael Seal did do a fantastic job of basically playing rear gunner as a driver. Goes off the circuit, allowing our race 1 winner, Andy McEwen, through. And I think James Neve has got through as well. It was Tim Stevens who went off the road. Liam Stimson has gone back to the pit lane. Not entirely sure what's happened to him as our race 1 winner gets into the top 10. He's had a little bit of a crash. There's a bit of damage on the front right of Liam Stimpson's 000 car, a number which I didn't think was legal in racing, but clearly I was mistaken. Now, this is what happened. That's what's allowed Andy McEwen through. Basically, and too many cars trying to go for an apex there, Reese. It's got a little bit messy, and on the exit, collected a few more cars.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was just trying to get the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. Everyone made the apex, which, as we saw in race 1, isn't the easiest thing to do. And then as he's gone around, he's collected what looks like 2 of the Excite cars on his way through as well. So he's back to the pits, unfortunately. So that's his race 2 seemingly over, but we've still got 19 cars running on the lead lap right now. And last car on the lead lap is Chris Dixon in our AB class. But yeah, you've still got Michael Seal, now only 4 attempts behind Mark Oliver for P2. So we are going to get maybe a grandstands finish here, especially from podium positions, with Adam Delmont only a further second back, 1.1 seconds back from Michael Seal. So yeah, the field compressing nicely as we get towards the end. And what a drive it has been from Adam Delmont, showing absolutely monster pace. I don't think anyone's catching Adam McNally, but the fight for P2 is well and truly alive here.
You're not wrong, because look at it, it's on your screen now. This is Adam Delmont's perspective, arguably. Oh, it's Nick Clibbins, throws a little bit too much speed through Paddock Hill Bend, but you can see just ahead of Adam that there's a fight brewing between Mark Oliver and Michael Seal. And Mark already going defensive towards Graham Hill Bend. Michael just taking his normal line, almost trying to psych out the M-Class driver, who, as we mentioned before, may well be on his first ever BSR trip, and running in the podium is a little bit nerve-wracking for the best of us, let alone a complete newbie. Michael Seal goes through as a consequence. Mark Oliver has to pretty much have a pretty disastrous last 4.5 minutes to be with any threat of not winning the M-Class. But as drivers are starting to bleed past him, all of a sudden the risk of potential, a little bit of contact here and there, starts to become very real, because a lot of drivers will be very impatient, even though he's not a back marker. I mean, Reese, I think it's safe to say, Mark will probably be the first to say, he's not really, well, he's a little bit out of position.
It would be, but he's got that on his own merits. He got the full reverse grid, and then he's had, 10 minutes of clean running whilst everyone was losing their heads at the start of race 2. We saw, mega contact in clearways, multiple cars going out. He kept his head cool and he got away from everyone. So you might say not on his own merit, but I think he's probably doing himself a bit of a disservice there. Currently running P4, so he's just dropped off the podium places. I think we're going to have a cracking fight now, a resumption of race 1 hostilities between Adam Delmont and Michael Seal for P2, which, funnily enough, was the same spot they were fighting over in race 1 as well. So it's all shaking out. So we might be a race late, but we're probably going to get that grandstand finish we were waiting for on that one. And you can see Michael Seal kicking up some dust there as they come through Paddock Hill Bend.
5 laps go. Adam McNally is a good 6.1 seconds ahead of Michael Seal at the moment, and of course the battle that's on your screen for the time being. Michael getting a little bit wide of the apex then, maybe offering a little bit of an impetus to Adam Delmont, almost offering an invitation to come and get attacked by the 77. Look at it as they go through McLarens and into clearways. There's definitely a pace advantage, I would say, there, Reese, from Adam Delmont. They go down towards the start-finish straight. How are they going to line themselves up? Here's Adam Delmont going to go for a move into Paddock Hill Bend. He will have the slipstream. He'll potentially have a little bit of overspeed. He's gone to the outside as Adam Delmont, and Michael Seal, who just reappears in your shot there. Oh, there's going to be contact. Yes, there is. Almost morphing into the back of each other. Michael trying to go for that defensive line into Druids, keeping it tight on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend. Nicely under braking goes Michael Seal. Adam Delmont not able to make the move just yet. Is it a matter of time? There's only 4 laps left, Reese. This is going to be a tight one.
It is indeed. I'm glad the cameras are off currently, because I visibly winced when we saw that car morph into the back. We've got a little bit of front end damage actually on Adam Delmont's car. I think that might have been there for a few laps now, but you can see he's been using the bumper to bump in. He's very close again through clearways, through Clark now, right up on. The slipstream will be, it's round 2. Michael Seal came out on top last time by, well, Adam Delmont trying things different. Michael Seal goes to the outside. Delmont launches it up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend. Oh, how do they not touch there? 2 wheels up on the curve from Adam Delmont. Michael Seal staying in front for now. Delmont looks up the inside for Druids, not quite close enough. Delmont runs slightly wide, but it'll give him a better run off down the hill towards Graham Hill Bend. Michael Seal is definitely not out of the woods just yet with this one. And such a short lap here at Brands Hatch. Just as quickly as you finish talking about moving to turn 1, halfway round the lap, and all of a sudden it's setting up again for that run down the stop finish straight. Adam Delmont might not wait for that though. He's so aggressive, moving around behind him through clearways and back into the slipstream jack to do it all over again.
I anticipated that there was going to be a lot of swearing again in the year 1 team chat then, but luckily they just about got away with it. To be fair, Adam Delmont did really well not to make contact. Michael Seal did really well to avoid it as well, and another fake up from the outside gives him the space on the inside for Adam Delmont to potentially make the move actually stick this time. Michael Seal has got a better run, but Adam Delmont's nose is still there as they hit the brakes in towards Druid. There is a little bit of door banging. That's sort of to be expected as they both go for the apex. Nothing dirty there, though, I would say. Michael Seal gets into Adam Delmont gets into second place. Michael Seal may well have to settle for 3rd. There are 2 laps, and Michael Seal returned the favour.
Well, he's going to have a bite at the cherry now with the slipstream effect. Oh, he's gone a bit wide into clearways. That'll probably get Adam Delmont away. I mentioned Adam McNally. We've not seen a lot of him recently, but he's still got a 6-second lead as we enter the final lap. He really has checked out here in race 2. He'll be hoping there isn't a full grid this time round on the reverse grid, but he's not been challenged He's had an even more drama-free race than even Andy McEwen had in race 1. I'm sure he'll be chuffed to bits with this one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We're going to have a chat to Adam McNally afterwards, potentially. But it's a very, very impressive drive from himself. Very impressive drive from Adam Delmont, to be honest. Even if he came third, that was 16 positions gained on his starting. As he stands in second in 70, which is pretty amazing, to be honest, considering we basically had a 20 reverse grid. As the checkered flag is about to fly, it's going to fly in the face of Adam McNally. He's already drifting. He's got that bigger margin and that much confidence in the bonnet. Adam McNally takes the second victory on offer here at Brands Hatch Indy. Coming across the line for second place is Adam Delmont, with the Year 1 driver of Michael Seal just behind him, rounding out the podium. Mark Oliver wins the AM-class victory and comes in a top 4 overall position. Absolutely brilliant by Mark Oliver. I couldn't be happier for him, to be honest. Top 5 ended up being Nick Clibbins, probably pulling off some of the moves of the day. About 3 of them around the outside that we saw. He probably actually pulled off quite a lot more. Craig McDonald, I'll finish reading after his name, because the 596 ended up coming top of the Pro-Am category. So winner of the Pro-Am is Craig McDonald. He ended up in P6 overall. We'll be able to bring you all of the finishing order in a little bit, and of course that reverse grid spinning wheels, so everybody can see the context in which we're going to go into race 3. We're about halfway through this evening's action now, aren't we, Reese? And I tell you what, Brands Hatch Indy hasn't disappointed.
No, we've got the first half out of the way. We've got the prologue done. Now from the main course as we get into round 3 and round 4. As I say, the action absolutely frantic all the way through in that race 2 there. What a drive from Adam Delmont, coming all the way through from P19 up to P2. Unfortunately for him, it's reverse grid time, so we'll find out how far back in the pack he's got to do it all from again. As I think we're about to head potentially towards the spinning wheel. Other honourable mentions, we've got Andy McEwen up to P9, our race 1 winner there as well. So again, not making mega ground compared to, say, Adam Delmont, but he kept it clean and he did gain, say, 11 spots from where he started. So he won't be too miffed with that, I don't think.
No, I'm going to have to ask our producer Graham Sessford to try and get some kind of transition to give us a little bit more warning when we're about to go live on the camera, because it's all of a sudden it appears out of nowhere. But yeah, Adam McNally with a fantastic one. We'll be able to give you the podium now, even if we can't quite give you reverse grid just yet. Adam McNally confirms the race victor for the XI Esports team. Second place is also an XI Esports team member. Adam Delmont is second place of the evening. Year 1 driver of Michael Seal ends up on the bottom step of the podium after what looked like he might hold on to P2, but a fantastic race and reignition of his rivalry with Adam Delmont. Luckily, this time kept it nice and clean and actually had some really good moves in there as well. So well done to all 3 of those drivers. So we are going to be able to do the reverse grid. Then we'll be able to bring you the actual finishing order for that second race of the evening, because then we'll be able to put it in a little bit of context for the grid for race 1. So if Graham Sessford spins that wheel, we'll be able to get it going. Now remember, we had full last time out. Oh, is it going to be low? No, it's going to be sort of in the middle. 15 is the reverse grid. Reese, a good number, I would say, considering that's probably pretty close to a full reverse grid almost.
Yeah, it's just over halfway through the pack, but obviously once you start to take into account lap down cars, yeah, not too far away from full. And that'll put Adam Fox, AM driver, on pole, with Julian Stewart joining him on the front row. Kip Stevens just missing out, unfortunately. But yeah, as I say, Adam Fox will be thrilled with that one. I'm sure he'll be excited to see what comes next. Obviously, we saw Mark Oliver do very well in the AM class, starting high up in race 2. Adam Fox will be hoping to replicate that. And I think we've got the full results now. So without further ado, over to you, Jack.
So, confirmed race victor Adam McNally by 5 seconds in the end. Trust me, that would have been well closer to 8 if he hadn't started weaving. It had a very, very dominant drive by Adam McNally. Adam Delmont, his teammate, and, well, shares the same name as well. And for some reason, I've only just noticed that. Ended up in second place. Michael Seal in third. Fourth is Mark Oliver, the AM class victor in the end. Nick Clibbins was in the top 5. Greg McDonald in 6th. Thor Tuller was in 7th. Luke Cooper in 8th, with Andy McEwen fighting his way from 20th into 9th, with James Neve rounding out the top 10. 11th place sees Liam Silkstone. Lee Holmes ended up in 12th after taking a 3rd place in race 1. 13th was Tom Griffiths, 14th was Julian Schroer, 15th Adam Fox, 16th Kip Stevens, 17th Mark Van Dalen, 18th Douglas Stewart, 19th Chris Dixon. 2 laps down will be Fiona Siddons. But before we go away from that screen, I've just realised that I forgot to mention, reset it before, but Adam Fox will be on pole position with Julian Schroer on the front row with him. So the top 15 reverse grid. And Fiona Siddons was in 20th. 2 laps down. Liam Stimpson, 21st, 9 laps down. 22nd was Glenn Humberstone, 15 laps down. Paul Cook, 23rd, 16 laps down. 24th was Sam Smith, 18 laps down. Jamie Guller for 25th. 18 laps down as well, and so was Colin Sampson in 26th position. Right, we're going to go to a very, very quick break after those results. We'll be back in a couple of minutes' time. We're going to hit you up with an advert. We're going to have a little bit of a break, then we'll be back for race 3 of the evening. So please don't go too far away from your screens, and be back in about 5 minutes' time. Welcome back, and we've got a couple of minutes' time. We'll be into race 3 of the evening for a top 15 reverse grid. Now, Reese, that top 15 sees, it will see, I should probably say, Adam Fox, another AM-class driver, right up there in the thick of it, on pole position. And it went pretty well for the previous AM-class driver who was up there, and I'm trying to scan my brain of who it was who came 4th place, which is really embarrassing. There we go. Yeah, I've just got it. Mark Oliver. Yeah, there we go. He ended up coming in 4th overall. Adam Fox, can he do a similar thing?
Potentially so. Again, I mean, Mark Oliver kind of laid the blueprint down in race 2. It's all about getting away nice and clean early on. Maybe a bit of carnage in behind. And then he had such a gap over the chasing pack. You know, Michael Seal, Adam Delmont had, incredible pace. So, they were very, very quick, but it still took them pretty much all race to catch him up. And then he caught him up with 3 or 4 laps to go. So that's got to be the blueprint for Adam Fox. He just wants to run away and hide for as long as he can before the big guns come at him.
Race 2 saw quite a few incidents in the first couple of laps, didn't it? Sort of what we expect from a reverse grid, especially a full reverse grid, which ended up being about 20. Race 3 and 4, there's nothing really to say that it's not going to go the same way. Andy McEwen said in his interview from race 1 that it's about surviving the early laps, and we saw a real illustration of that, I suppose, in race 2.
Definitely. I mean, we lost 4 or 5 cars, I think, in clearways on lap 1. Not normally clearways, you get the incident at the start of a race, and usually it self-clears as well. There's a nice sticky gravel trap out there. But there's a couple of cars that got kind of turned around in front of the field as they were coming on through. Obviously, they come over the crest as well, and it's a long corner, so you can't always see what's round the bend, quite literally. And, unfortunately, we lost a few cars there. I think a few other cars picked up a bit of damage along the way. We saw, the likes of Van Dalen being involved. I think Paul Cook, he DNF'd from the race as well. So we lost a few runners, and they'll all now be starting near the back and... trying to pick their way through and hopefully not have the same fate in race 3.
Yeah, but there is only... we are only halfway through this evening, of course. So not all is lost for these drivers just yet, is there? There's plenty more racing to be done.
Indeed. All still to play for. I mean, we saw Adam McNally. I bet he had his head in his hands as he jumped the start in race 1. Funny enough, we saw Fiona Siddons do the same in race 2 as well, actually. And we saw how well it paid off for McNally. Obviously, he finished up a lap down, not the best, and the full reverse grid played into his hands, and he just waltzed off up the hill as such into Druids and never looked back after lap 1 and a dominant win. He's now got a bit more work to do, though. He'll be starting P15 in race 3, so time to get his elbows out and see if he can replicate what Adam Delmont did in race 2.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be working hard, those two Excite drivers. They'll be starting side by side, 15th and 14th place. We'll be able to give you the full grid in a second because the timer has just ticked over and we are about to go into the 3rd race of the evening. So without further ado, hopefully we'll shoot away from my mug and go onto the grid order. And it should be a fantastic race as well, so please do join us. So it looks a little bit murky out there at Brands Hatch if we do shoot over. Adam Fox in the 966 on pole position, and as we mentioned already, 2nd place Julian Schroer, 3rd Tom Griffiths, probably one of the favourites I would say, with 4th Lee Holmes, also another favourite potentially for a race victory here. Liam Silkstone top 5, 6th is James Neve and Andy McEwen is in 7th. 8th Luke Cooper, 9th Thor Tuller. 10th is Craig McDonald, 11th is Nick Clibbins, 12th Mark Oliver, 13th Michael Seal, Adam Delmont is in 14th, and 15th is Adam McNally. Lights are about to come on, so I'll just finish there on the top 15. Kip Stevens is in 16th place. But as the engine notes rise, it's cue for race 3, and as a pole sitter Adam Fox disappears, that could be a worrying sign for a lot of the drivers queuing up behind to overtake the AM Class Championship leader, but he gets into turn 1 nice and clean and absolutely no problems whatsoever from any of the cars behind. Julian Schroer is trying to get over to that inside for Druids, not letting likes of Tom Griffiths and Lee Holmes get a nice run out of Paddock Hill Bend and try and get an overtake. In fact, Julian Schroer successfully forced them into a bit of a fight as further back down the order there's a driver, Nick Clibbins, ended up falling off on the outside. of Druid going into Graham Hill Bend. He's rejoined without making any further contact with any other driver, but not the start that we wanted for Nick Clemens.
No, but overall, relatively clean. I think there was 3 or 4 cars that spun and went round at the start. Well, actually, Adam Fox got a good start, but then makes a mistake into clearways on that one. Now he's tumbling down the order. We can see Andy McEwen just sliding on past him. He's got James Neve tucked right behind him as well. 2U1 cars going too wide into Paddock Hill Bend. You've got the car. Oh, we've got some contacts in front. Who's that going around the 35? Oh, he's been absolutely nailed. He's on his roof. That's Lee Holmes. The right rear tyre is off that. He's back to the pits. He's out the race. But absolute carnage in Paddock Hill Bend. Tom Griffiths is leapt away. I think it might have been Dan Blake that mentioned it actually last week. But Tom Griffiths was actually running in the MX5 at Brands Hatch a few weeks ago in real life. And I say he's here now leading race 3 for us at Brands Hatch Indy. I might have got that completely wrong and made ahead. I'm sure it was Dan Blake that said that, so I'm passing blame on. Julian Stewart in P2, and our race 1 winner, Andy McEwen in P3. He's got his teammate Liam Silkson, the 1TV car, in P4, with Luke Cooper in P5, and then you've got Fortulla, the newcomer, in P6, with Craig McDonald just challenging for P7. As I said, at the latest swap on round. Yeah, McEwen now up into P3, already looking to make a move on Julian Stewart, up into Druids. Oh, he gets right up on the curb there as well, and he gets attacked from behind from Luke Cooper as well. If you're not attacking, you're defending. If you're attacking, you might have to do some defending pretty quickly. I say it's, you know, total vehicular warfare here in the MX5s. The cars all stretched out in a single line. It gives me a moment to catch my breath as we head up into clearways.
Yeah, Julian Stewart is not going to go down without a fight, is he? The Pro-Am leader in the 5-4-1. And McEwen trying his best to force his way up the inside. Crowbar a space open for himself, but it wasn't big enough to fit an MX5 in, so they had to just settle themselves down and try again next time. However, just a little bit further behind, however, is the fight for the top 6, I believe, with Adam Delmont, Craig McDonald, Adam McNally, Michael Seal, Jason Cooper, all trying to force their way through Paddock Hill Bend without crashing into each other. A feat that somehow they've managed. I'm not entirely sure how, but looking there at the back, this is facing backwards from Adam Delmont's car. This is looking at number 78 of Adam McNally in 7th place. Craig McDonald just behind him as Adam Delmont goes very wide, showing us the line that he chooses to take through Graham Hill Bend. And again, just breaking the toe a little bit. Now, what I would say here, Reese, is Adam Delmont, he's in a good position to potentially catch up to the likes of Luke Cooper and Julian Stewart, who's now dropped behind not only Adam McNally, Andy McEwen, but also potentially Liam Silkstone. We actually see them. You can see the visual representation of it there as Tom Griffith goes through. Andy McEwen's about to go through as well. They're almost 2 by 2. Hurrah, hurrah, we say in the commentary box. With Liam Silkstone into 3rd place. Julian Stewart has to settle for 4th and is defending again from Luke Cooper. An aggressive up round the outside and trying to get into the top 4. Liam Silkstone and Julian Stewart, 2 Pro-Am drivers. So Silkstone has gotten that Pro-Am lead. He's now into 3rd place overall as Julian holds on to that 4th place for the time being.
Yes, the action is frantic. Now, one person we've not really spoke about, but we've just touched on him actually, is Jason Cooper. He's missed the first 2 races tonight. I'm not sure exactly where he started for race 3, but I'm going to assume somewhere near the back on the basis that he's not done 2 previous races. He's already up to P8. He's currently set the second fastest lap of the race. Only Tom Griffiths, our leader, has gone faster. And all of a sudden, he's going to be thinking, you know what, can I get top 5? He's all over the back of Adam McNally going into Paddock Hill Bend. And what fantastic, I don't know where he's come from, but Jason Cooper showing some of his great pace that he had at Donington Park, looking for the outside of Paddock Hill Bend. As it looks like McNally just get past it. Oh, no. Contact! No, they're off into the outside wall, and that's both drivers off, Seal and McNally. Not the first time Seal's had contact tonight with an Excite car. I must say, again, we don't apportion blame on stream, but it does look like Adam McNally is out of this race. Yeah, he's towed on back, and the right front of that car is looking very, very second-hand there. So yeah, unfortunate contact between them. Michael Seal dropping all the way back to P21. As well. That promotes James Neve up to P10. Mark Van Dalen also having a good run. We've not mentioned him yet. He's in P11. And as we say that, Tom Griffiths stretching his legs at the front. He just set fast. Commentators discuss. He'd set the fastest lap of the race right until the point that Jason Cooper got to the line. He does a 51.4. He's all the way up to P6 now as well. Actually, Luke Cooper, I'm not sure if there's a relation there. They're driving different teams, so potentially not. Oh, they're brothers. I'm being corrected. So maybe a bit of brotherly love. We saw what happened with the Van Fours at Nürburgring in the real life 24. Hopefully we don't get a repeat of that here in Tuesday night MX5. As I say, looks like it's going to be some Cooper on Cooper action next for us here in race 3.
Yeah, Cooper, not to be mistaken with the Nintendo character Pooper Cooper. It's going to be very interesting to see the 43 and the 1 going at each other, really. But at the moment, you can see that in second place isn't exactly dealt with for the time being. Although Andy McEwen won race 1, it's a bit of a canter. Liam Silkstone keeping him rather honest here, and the run down 8.5 minutes into 8.5 minutes left of this race, about 7 minutes into it. Julian Schroer, he's a little bit all over the place, Reese, but he's holding. Well, he's not holding on to this position, or is he? Going around the outside of Graham Hill bend, I think Luke Cooper might be just about to overtake him, and Jason Cooper may well be as well. Yeah, there we go. Going into Surtees, that's a fairly easy pass for one of the Coopers. A little bit more tricky for the reigning champion, Jason Cooper, though. Going around the outside of Clearways as well. Very ambitious. I haven't seen that one being pulled off before tonight, and it doesn't look like it's quite worked out for him just yet. Julian Schroer, he's not going down without a fight.
No, but Jason Cooper used Luke Cooper's draft down the start-finish straight, and actually used that to slip shot past him up into P4 through Paddock Hill Bend. It looks like Schroer's going to lose another spot now to the 77 of Adam Delmont. And a slightly less spectacular race 3. Still, P6 from P14 on the grid. He'll be very happy with that one. Yeah, Andy McEwen looking like he's got P2 sewn up with the 1TV car, Liam Silverstone, running out the podium places currently, although Jason Cooper's charging hard, also leading our Pro-Am class as well. Tom Griffiths, gap stabilised about 3 seconds or so. He's looking comfortable to be our third race winner, potentially. So far, 7 minutes to go of the evening.
What we like to see is what we expect when we come to BSR, isn't it? Multiple race victors. We don't want to see repeated if we can help it. That's why the reverse grid, especially the random reverse grid, is so liked here at BSR. It gives everybody an opportunity, and really it sort of culminates with that Adam McNally that we saw, isn't it? With him jumping the start in race 1, keeping going, trying to keep yourself on the lead lap or at least plus 1 lap. And then you always got an opportunity potentially for another race in the evening, and then he ends up taking another race victory. So yeah, that's exactly why we use the reverse grid, especially a randomised one. It keeps everybody trying. Always a bit of hope, always sparks a touch of hope with a lot of these drivers. Paul Cook, the number 15, currently in 12th place. Got Jamie Gulliford just behind him, and Adam Fox. Adam Fox obviously leading the AM category, even though he had, I believe, contact early on. He was on pole position this race. Hasn't quite gone the way that he was hoping for. He was probably trying to replicate Mark Oliver, but it hasn't quite worked for him. In fact, speaking of Mark Oliver, he's in the pit lane DNFing right at the moment. Shame, as Adam McNally is also in the pits, and Lee Holmes as well. So 3 drivers that really actually have caught our attention this evening. Unfortunately, not having a particularly good race 3. The fights all up and down the order, but particularly a fight for P2 and 3, which is the battle that we've just jumped over to. Graham Sessford hot on the keyboard as always. Jason Cooper up the inside. Oh, not quite, of Liam Silkstone. I reckon if anybody's scared of this, it'll be Andy McEwen looking in his rearview mirrors, Reese.
Jason Cooper has got the bit between his teeth for sure. He's diving up the inside now of Paddock Hill Bend. Let's say I'm not quite sure where he started, but he's and I'm not quite sure where he's going to finish, but he's charging very hard. And Andy McEwen's got to have taken note of his progress as he's been launching his way up through the field. Now, what a run so far for Jason Cooper. That's another position gain. He's now on the podium, showing why he was last season's champion. But he's got a 3-time winner so far this season in front of him in Andy McEwen. Might not be an easy overtake to do, but he's overtook so many cars by now. He's got a lot more battle practice, perhaps, than Andy McEwen did. So we'll see how this one pans out. McEwen's got great pace, but so has Jason Cooper as well. So in the final 4 minutes, all left to play for.
Yeah, is not sure where he came from, not sure where he's going. Where did he come from? Cotton Eye Joe, that's the question, isn't it? Jason Cooper, though, is running very, very well, that's for sure. And as I said, Andy McEwen will not be all too pleased to see the sort of grey and orange liveried car screaming up to the backside of him. 4 minutes to go, and if, well, to be honest, Reese, I'll be very impressed if Andy can keep him behind, because Jason Cooper has been putting in fastest laps. He's been carving through the order. Nothing seems to be slowing him down. I think Tom Griffiths, when he watches this race back, will be very glad he built up such a sizable lead early on. Up the inside into clearways, McEwen is forced wide as Jason Cooper shows the fake. It wasn't even a fake, actually, just half showed his nose. And that was enough for McEwen to open up the steering and offer up the inside space. I don't think he's going to be able to get back. No, he hunkers up to the back. Jason Cooper, so there has been a change for the podium places. Tom Griffiths, by the way, is just about 4 seconds up the road. 5 laps to go. That's going to be an almighty effort if Jason Cooper can try and catch up to our race leader.
Yeah, it might be a little bit too much even for Jason Cooper to achieve, but one thing's for sure, he's going to give it a go. His best lap, a 151.1. It's pretty much a full 3 or 4 attempts clear of what anyone else has managed this race. He's definitely had a bit between the feet, and what a run for him so far. We've now got Adam Delmont trying to pressure his way past Liam Silkstone. Oh, and he's hit him into clearways. Silkstone just about holds on, but then gets contact in the door from Luke Cooper. No, unfortunate contact there for our Pro-Am winner. He's still just leading Pro-Am, but he's got Craig McDonald just squeezing on by now. And Craig McDonald's looking to make a move on Luke Cooper too. Oh, it's going to be so close into Panakill Bend. Can Liam Silkstone hold on around the outside? And does he get the run? What a nice move there. He gets the run on Luke Cooper up into Druids. He's going to try and go a long way around again. It's worked for him once. Will it work for him twice? Just runs out of road, just runs out of steam. And that does let Craig McDonald through now into the lead of our Pro-Am category. You've got Julian Schroer in 3rd place in that category. He's right with him as well. So it's all still to play for in Pro-Am. As Liam Silkstone up the inside into 30s. Through McLaren they go. Oh, it'll be great. This one will go down to the wire, I am sure.
Julian Schroer is back grabbing our attention as well, isn't he? He's right in the mix of all of this, and he's in 8th place at the moment, but he's fancying something slightly higher. 3 laps to go as the race leaders cross the line, but we're all focusing on the fight for 6th place, with Craig McDonald currently leading that. Julian Schroer at the inside of Liam Silkstone. I don't think he's managed to get it. There's a Year 1 TV car of James Neve firing over towards the right-hand side of the circuit. In fact, actually, I don't think it was James Neve. It was Mark Van Dalen, potentially, actually. So, yeah, they're all trying to still figure each other out, but Julian Schroer has gotten ahead of James Neve. He couldn't quite get ahead of Liam Silkstone. Craig McDonald leads the way and leads the Pro-Am category, of course, because McDonald, Silkstone and Schroer are all Pro-Am drivers. Keep that in mind as you're watching this battle unfold. And there is our leader of the Am category, Adam Fox, number 966, just about having a bird's eye view, but a first-hand view of the battling that's going up ahead, probably hoping that he was going to get involved once upon a time. The 594 of Liam Silkstone goes a little bit wide into the entry of Panakill Bend. That maybe was allowing Julian Schroer up the inside. Can't quite see just yet. So, it's a driver off the right-hand side of the road. And I'm not sure who that was. Maybe James Neve. Yes, James Neve, unfortunately. And Julian Schroer is off the road as well, who I assume at Druids on the exit. Yes, Julian Schroer is rejoining, but unfortunately will have absolutely no chance at taking that Pro-Am victory anymore. So, Tom Griffiths coming on.
After you.
Go on, Reese. Oh, okay.
So, as we come on to the final.
Tom Griffiths going on to the final lap of the race, and the white flag flies in his face, so potentially we will have a 3rd different driver taking a victory here. I did say, Reese, at the beginning of this race, that potentially Tom Griffiths is one of the favourites, and he hasn't proved me wrong.
No, he's got just under a 3-second lead back to Jason Cooper, who's still got Andy McEwen keeping him more than honest in P3, and Adam Delmont's right there as well, so we might have a little bit of action just going into clearways on the final lap, but it doesn't look like anybody's going to bother Tom Griffiths as we head into through 30s, up into clearways. He's got this one in the bag indeed. Looks like everyone else is staying line astern through clearways. We can just see in the background Tom Griffiths started third in race 3, and for the third race of the evening, he wins for the first time, sliding across the line. Jason Cooper follows him home in P2, Andy McEwen in P3, Adam Delmont finishing out that group of cars there in P4. And then we look back, you've got Luke Cooper rounding out the top 5, and Craig McDonald winning the Pro-Am category and coming home P6 on the road.
Great drives from all round, I would say, but Tom Griffiths, a winning margin of about 2.83 seconds. Probably, I mean, with Jason Cooper hunting him down, that's probably about as big a gap as you could hope to gain. I think Jason Cooper was gaining about half a second a lap on him in the end, so pretty impressive. And I think, depending on the reverse grid, we may well see 4 race victors if Cooper can keep up that pace, that's for sure. We'll be able to bring you the reverse grid spinning wheel in a couple of minutes' time, of course, for our final race of the evening, coming up in probably about 10 to 15 minutes total. We may well go for a quick break in between as well. Great driving. Craig McDonald took home the Pro-Am victory, and Adam Fox still took the Am victory in 12th place overall, even after a spin early on. So just in case I forget when I'm reading out the actual finishing order, those are your Pro-Am and Am victors, of course. So we'll be able to bring up the cameras. We'll be able to bring up the spinning wheel in a couple of seconds' time as well. In fact, there we are, of course. So delightful to have you back. Delightful to be back on your screens. There we go. I knew I could get it right at some point. Reece, a great race 3 there, wasn't it?
Oh, and it was frantic. It lived up to all the hype from race 1 and 2. What a great night of entertainment. 2 weeks in a row we've had from the BSR MX5s. So really good attendance as well, 26 cars. Unfortunately, we did lose a couple in that race. We lost Adam McNally to the contact at Druids with, I think it was Michael Seal. Not sure where we lost Mark Oliver in that one. And then we had Lee Holmes, who ended up doing his best Guan Yu Zhou impression on his roof in Paddock Hill Bend. So a few DNFers. Chris Dixon was the last car on the lead lap, I believe, in 22nd. That might be important as we start to look for the reverse grid. I know we've got the, I don't know if it's a patented Wheel of Fortune that Graham Sessford's got lined up for us in a moment. But yeah, so some fantastic stories still to come. One last race of action to come. And I've got a feeling these BSR MX5 drivers are going to save the best till last. But no, I think the podium's on its way. So over to you, Jack.
Yep, it looks like Tom Griffiths doesn't have a picture quite uploaded yet, but he took pole. Sorry, he didn't take pole position. He took first place with Jason Cooper joining the evening late, but coming on second place of the second step of the podium. Andy McEwen visits the podium for the second time tonight, but this time he's gone from first down to third. I'm sure he'll be pleased just to be picking up those points. Right, we can do the reverse grid spinning wheel. The wheel of misfortune is probably what most drivers will probably end up calling it. Between 8, 10, 6, 9, 12, anywhere else in full, I think. As the spinning wheel comes. Oh, we might get a low one. So we've had a full and we've had a 15. This time we're going low. We're going for the number 8. So a top 8 reverse grid. We'll be able to bring you the full running down. Oh, in fact, there it is actually. The full standings as they happen, the full results. So remember, P8 is on pole position. Tom Griffiths is taking home the victory from race number 3 with Jason Cooper. Probably will be my favourite to win race 4, I would say. He came home in second place. Andy McEwen was in third with Adam Delmont in fourth. Luke Cooper in fifth with Craig McDonald in sixth. Liam Silkstone was seventh and will be on the front row of race number 4 alongside P8 Mark Van Dalen, who will take pole position in his first, well, his only 4th race at BSR, his first evening with the BSR MX5 Championship. 9th was Thor Tullett, 10th was Paul Cook. 11th was Jamie Gulliford. The 12th was Adam Fox taking the AM-class victory. 13th, Sam Smith. 14th, Kip Stevens. 15th was Michael Seal, ended up having contact in that 3rd race yet again. 16th, Douglas Stewart. 17th, Julian Schroer. Had a good fight to Julian Schroer, but unfortunately it didn't quite go his way towards the end, and I think he ended up spinning off with contact. 18th, Fiona Siddons. 19th, Liam Stimson. 20th, Nick Clibbins. 21st Len Humberstone, 22nd. Chris Dixon. James Neve was 23rd, 2 laps down. Adam McNally was 24th, 13 laps down. 25th was Mark Oliver, 16 laps down. And Lee Holmes was 17 laps down in 26th place. So remember, P8, Mark Van Dalen will be on pole position for your 4th race of the evening. There is confirmation of such a thing. We'll be able to bring you the full grid just before we go into all the action for race 4 of the evening. But we're going to go to a very quick break, I believe, Reese, just to give ourselves another quick chance to get another drink, let you guys go to the toilet, and then get ready for race 4. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Over time, just about, for race number 4 of the evening. 3 races have been absolutely brilliant. We've had 3 different winners, of course, as well. Tom Griffiths won race 3. Andy McEwen won race number 1. And embarrassingly, Reese, who won race number 2?
Adam McNally won race number 2. And with Adam Delmont in P2 for a bonus point for me on that one. I think Adam Delmont and Jason Cooper are probably contenders to make it 4 from 4 as well this evening, as we're getting ready for race 4, just over 3 minutes away. So yeah, really looking forward to this one.
Yep, unfortunately, I haven't loaded into race 4 session yet, so apologies if I look like I am not concentrating on you, but I'm just trying to load into the session. In fact, there we go. We're going to pull up the calendar, and Reese, you're going to give us a bit of a rundown of what we got to look forward to in the next coming weeks.
So, of course, by looking forward, I'll look back first. So we had Donington Park last week. Obviously, we're at Brands Hatch this week, if you've not figured that one out by now. Next week, we're going to Silverstone, home of the British Grand Prix, for round 3 of the championship on the international layout. So missing some of the old circuits off there. And then we've got the full layout at Snetterton for round 4, the 300 layout that is, before we pack our bags and head off on a August summer holiday over to Monza, and that's the full Grand Prix layout there, so plenty of slipstreaming involved there. And then the track I'm probably looking forward to the most coming up after that is Knockhill. Again, on the full layout, obviously high curves, big elevation changes. I've been driving the Porsche Cup around there this week, and it is a heck of a lot of fun. We're looking forward to seeing the Mazdas take that. And I think it's the first time for the BSR series there as well. Then it's to Alton Park over in sunny Cheshire, Cheshire's very own Green Hell, before heading back to Donington Park for the second visit of the season, this time on the full Grand Prix layout, before then going to Silverstone on the shorter national layout. And then for the final race of the season, we're back here where we are tonight for Brands Hatch on the Grand Prix layout, mirroring what the British touring cars do in real life for our season finale, where all 3 championships, Pro-Am and Am, will hopefully be decided, say, in about 7 weeks' time, providing I've got my maths right just there. But no, looking forward to it. Hopefully, Jack's signed back on in, because we've got about a minute and 20 for the start. Obviously, as we said, Mark van Dalen on pole with Liam Silverstone in P2. Small reverse grid this time. Who's your pick, Jack? Who do you think's going to win the race?
I am not going to be put on the spot like that, Reese, because I've been put on the spot like that multiple times, and it always ended up being wrong. So I'm going to try and keep myself semi on the fence, I'd say. Tell you what, stuff it, Jason Cooper. I think after that race 3 performance, I said towards the end of that race, if it was going to be a low reverse grid, that I think Jason Cooper was going to take the victory. And I stand by it. He was the fastest, even though I don't know how much practice he's done, but the fact that he only turned up for race 3 this evening, he didn't turn up for practice, the qualifying, or the first 2 races, I think that he's going to be in with a good shout. He'll be starting in 7th place. That's on the inside. As long as he can keep his nose clean, nothing happens too dramatically around him, I'm going to go for Jason Cooper. And I'm going to send the same question back to you. Who's going to be your victor?
I'm going to be slightly different. I'm going to say Adam Delmont. So I'm still going to go 4 from 4 for different winners. But I'm going to say Adam Delmont. He showed great pace, especially in race 2 with his charge on through. You did also call, by the way, Tom Griffiths winning race 3 quite successfully. So you've had a bit of luck tonight. And just looking over, so just before we start to grid on up, I've just noticed Jack Whitehead said in the Twitch chat, in the YouTube chat, the Copperberg in the back, is it for everyone, Jack, or is it just yours?
It's for when it really goes that wrong. It's when we have technical issues. That's when that gets cracked open. Trust you me. We almost had it open at the beginning of this stream. It's actually filled with all sorts in there. I should have probably had Luke say that would have perked me up. Anyway, we're going into the grid. Mark van Dalen on pole position. Liam Silverstone in 2nd place. Craig McDonald in 3rd. Luke Cooper in 4th. Top 5 rounded out by Adam Delmont. Reese's pick, race victor. 6th is Andy McEwen. Already won 1 race today. Jason Cooper, my pick for the race victor, in 7th place. 8th was Tom Griffiths. He won the last race. That's why he's starting in 8th. Thor Tuller in 9th, with 10th being Paul Cook. 11th is Jamie Gulliford. 12th is Adam Fox. 13th, Sam Smith. 14th, Kip Stevens. 15th, Michael Seal. He's had a bit of poor evening so far. Maybe he'd appreciate the Copperberg. 16th is Douglas Stewart. 17th is Julian Schroer. 18th, Fiona Siddons. 19th, Liam Stimson. 20th is Nick Clemens, and I'm going to stop there because the lights are about to go out as the engine notes rise for the final time here at Brands Hatch this evening in the virtual world. The BSR MX5 Championship gets underway. Mark van Dalen looks like he's got a pretty good run out from pole position. Typically, it's not that fantastic to start from pole position here at Brands Hatch. It's a little bit difficult, but it doesn't seem to have stopped any of our pole sitters so far this evening. Liam Silkstone in second with Luke Cooper in third. Baker at one position attacking on Craig McDonald as Adam Delmont goes side by side with Craig McDonald as well going through Druid. They all trail from Mark van Dalen early on in this particular race. I see a little bit of a puff of smoke going around Druid, so maybe there's been a bit of contact early on. I'm not entirely sure. Don't think there's been many people. Oh, Julian Schroer's ended up going all the way backwards. And speaking of Julian Schroer, he's ended up facing backwards, going into Graham Hill Bend, and there was another driver, Mark Oliver, I believe, or maybe even Chris Dixon, actually, who has not had the best start. It was Chris Dixon there, actually. So Mark van Dalen leads. Graham McDonald has slipped down into 5th place. Look at this fight for 2nd place. Liam Silkstone will be on the outside. Luke Cooper in the number 43 will be on the inside trying to go for 2nd. They almost pile into 1st place, actually, as Mark van Dalen gets a little bit loose and has to hold on to the brakes and gets very loose and gets put into the wall. That's going to be the end of Mark van Dalen's evening on his first ever evening of BSR racing. Got pole position. It wasn't the dream ending he was hoping for. Luke Cooper leads the way.
Yeah, Luke Cooper leading the way after big contact in Paddock Hill Bend. Oh, more contact. Jason Cooper goes round in Graham Hill Bend. He's done a full 360. He should carry on, but he'll be right near the back. Unfortunately, and you can still hear cars hitting away. You've got one of those lovely Art Deco painted Any cars that's hit the wall. Not quite sure who that is. I think that's Adam Fox that's been in the wars. Obviously, he's won a couple of AM races this evening, I think, so, as Adam Fox. Funny enough, Fiona Siddons is leading AM currently. No, it's still Luke Cooper in the front with Adam Delmont in P2 and then Liam Silkstone rounding off our podium so far in P3, as it looks like Adam Delmont's screaming up the inside into Druids. Luke Cooper made a bit of a mistake and Adam Delmont didn't need a second invitation. So we have a new race leader. Julian Schroer sets the fastest lap of the race with 53.0. We've seen the guys doing 51, so we know that will come tumbling on down as they get themselves all sorted into a rhythm. Yeah, Adam Delmont hits the front on race 3, on lap 3. There's been another accident in Graham Hill Bend. You've got James Neave dropping down the order and he's off into the pits. Nick Clibbons was involved in that as well. So plenty of carnage so far here in our final race of the evening. Hard to keep up with it, looking forwards and backwards just here as we go on through.
Yeah, they do love to throw everything at this race, or don't they? It's never anything to hold back from, of course, because they don't have any repercussions going into a 5th race, because there is no 5th race, of course. But they do have stewarding here at the BSR Championship, so they still have to be somewhat a little bit careful. Oh, there's more crashing, and that's Andy McEwen on the left-hand side. He's had a good day so far, but it's gotten a little bit worse, unfortunately. There's no way you can go 2 weeks of MX5 BSR action without getting hit at least once, or at least not necessarily being hit. We'll wait to jury out on that one. He's all on his own. Maybe he just makes a mistake himself. He hits the curb, and he has just made the mistake himself. He does end up making contact, but that was absolutely Andy's own doing there. I'm sure he'll be the first to admit that, unfortunately. So he ended up having a little bit of a spin, maybe taking a little bit too much speed through Paddock Hill Bend. Unfortunate for him, but more unfortunate for the driver who made contact just behind him. Not entirely sure who that was, didn't get the cleanest look at it, but a big shame there at the front of the field.
It looked like one of the Excite cars, but I didn't see a number on it, so not sure who that was. They've kind of given us, it's Adam Nally, I'm being told, so his night, although he got fortunate with the race to victory from the reverse grid, his night's gone from bad to worse, really. Adam Delmont leading the way. You've got Luke Cooper in P2, pressuring him hard, staying with him. You've then got Liam Silkstone in P3, Jamie Gulliford second in Pro-Am, P4 on the road. Michael Seal having a better race of it at long last. He seems to have had the worst look so far. I'm not going to jinx him too much because there's still 10 minutes to go. He's running in P5. You've then got Craig McDonald Obviously, previous race winner in the Pro-Am category tonight in P6. Luke Stimpson in the Triple O machine, the non-outlawed number in P7. McNally still in P8, so still doing well. And then you got Lee Holmes in P9, and then Fiona Siddons rounding out our top 10, and also leading our AM category as well.
Yeah, just looking at the AM category, actually, normally we're trying to search for the 966 of Adam Fox, currently all the way down in 15th place. So there's a good opportunity for the likes of Fiona Siddons and Mark Oliver to take a race victory. Mark Oliver, of course, has already taken a class victory today after finishing 4th in race 2, 4th overall, that is, taking the AM class victory. Fiona Siddons has unfortunately just ended up being a little bit too much contact here, there and everywhere for Fiona, but that's the gap between, well, Fiona and Mark Oliver, and you can actually see it visibly on track as well, because of course they are fighting for P10 overall. So very interesting to see that sort of highlighted. And look who's charging through, actually. Just moved his way up into 11th in front of Mark Oliver, Jason Cooper. Now, I don't think he's going to win the race anymore, unfortunately. I think my prediction has somewhat gone down the toilet. But unfortunately, well, unfortunately for me anyway, but Jason is gifted an opportunity for someone else to take a race victory. And at the moment, Adam Delmont has grasped that with both hands.
Yes, Adam Delmont doing well, but say he's still got Luke Cooper just 3 tenths behind him. If you watch Jason Cooper pick his way past Fiona Siddons, he's now running P10 overall. And the AM guys don't really want anything to do with hard charging Jason Cooper. He's just not their race. I've actually just had a message off Mark Van Dalen. See, he's already retired from the race, just complaining that he had no rear grip the whole lap before he crashed. So I don't think there was any contact there for him. He just lost it all on his own. So he sounds pretty disappointed. As I'm talking about Van Dalen's misfortune, Lee Holmes sets the fastest lap of the race with 51.2, which I think we've only seen Jason Cooper go quicker than that this evening. So Lee Holmes showing a turn of pace. Obviously, he's all the way in P9. He's actually got Jason Cooper hunting him down. There's a gap of 1.8 seconds between the two of them. So we'll see how that one goes. And you got Adam McNally in front of him. Ambal potting up in front of us though. You got Siddons. Stewart's in there as well, and Oliver has actually took the lead in the AM category whilst I was running through the order just there. So all to play for up and down the field so far as we're at the halfway point of this race. It looks like Stewart's just going to try and get ahead of Mark Oliver. Fortulla as well has got past Fiona Siddons, so there's a few cars between our AMs currently. But as I say, it looks like Stewart's going to move ahead of Mark Oliver into Paddock Hill Bend. A little bit of a door bang on the way through against the 88 Tech car. You've then got Fortulla moving up on Oliver, teammates as well. So we'll see what happens there as they go through Druids. Nothing doing so far. Fiona Siddons keeping well in touch. I think our AM battle might go down to the wire between Mark Oliver and Fiona Siddons. Obviously having cars moving around them in different classes as well should be a fine battle from them.
Yeah, Douglas Stewart going through on Mark Oliver is significant for the overall change in the order, but it's not really significant for the class changes of order, of course. Now, we're on board with Luke Cooper because he's hunkered up to the back of our race leader, Adam Delmont, number 77, just ahead of the car we're on board with, going up towards Druids. Hitting late on the brakes there is Luke Cooper. Gets a nice exit as well. Adam Delmont seems to be a bit earlier, but then bleeds off the brakes a little bit earlier as well, so he's carrying a little bit more minimum speed potentially. Now, but the brakes for both of them, and a bit of corrective oversteer there for Luke Cooper as they go through Graham Hill Bend. Starting the second half of the lap, again going nice and wide on the entry, and then absolutely throwing it over the curbs is Luke. A little bit more calm and composed, I'd say, is Adam Delmont, not forcing the tyres to do more than they're hoping for. Go towards Paddock Hill. It's a bit difficult, this one. I think 6 minutes left, Reese. If I was Luke Cooper, I'd probably just be focusing on staying within shooting distance of Adam Delmont and waiting until maybe 5 laps to go.
Definitely.
Ooh, that's not how you're going to do that, though.
No two wheels through the gravel. You've already touched on it. They've got very different driving styles from what we can see looking on board from Luke Cooper. He seems a bit more aggressive on the car. Car's moving around a little bit more underneath him. Adam Delmont, less theatrics involved, a little bit smooth with the car as well. And you've got to think they'll be sizing each other up at this point. And a bit of a two-horse race. They've got to get back to Liam Silverstone in third place. And they'll just be sizing each other up. Obviously, Luke Cooper, he's got the benefit of the draft as well, especially down the long stretch, through Clark Curve, and then down up towards I say, it's funny, isn't it? Brands Hatch down and up towards is actually correct for Paddock Hill Bend. As you can see, Adam Delmont moving around, trying to just avoid that slipstream effect. But yeah, it's a couple of car lengths of gap. Just over 3 tenths on the stopwatch. As Luke Cooper through the gravel, he should be okay there. He should save it, but you can just see that ragged style he's got there coming into play.
It's not the first time we've seen Luke Cooper actually do that. It's the reason why he's not leading the race anymore, actually, is the 000 Stimpson goes door to door, almost with a McDonald. This is for the Pro-Am podium, not the lead of the Pro-Am, but the Pro-Am podium. Currently, Silkstone and Gulliford are actually pretty much as close as these drivers are. The overall podium, that's third place, but also lead of the Pro-Ams. It can get a little bit confusing here at BSR MX5, but hopefully on the left-hand side at Timing Tower, we'll be able to give you a little bit more of a clearer picture. Those in white numbers are the pros. There we go. The Pro-Ams are the baby blue, and AMs are orange. So, yeah, it gives a little bit of an easier order to sort of see. Say that Adam Delmont and Jason Cooper fighting for the overall pro category. Silkstone Gulliford for Pro-Am, and Oliver and Fox now, who's overtaken Siddons, are fighting for the AM class victory. Mark Oliver got Paul Cook between himself and Adam Fox, so that may well heat up towards the end of the race as well. 4 minutes to go, the 5 laps to go will probably come out on the next time round. Is a little bit further ahead of the likes of Stimpson, we're currently looking at. It's starting to heat up, and I believe that is for third position potentially. Actually, Adam Delmont and Luke Cooper, even though Luke Cooper ended up falling off the circuit at Paddock Hill Bend, they're still about 3 tenths of a second away from each other. So Adam Delmont could take advantage.
Yes, and it looks like it's been all changing our AM category as well. I think Fiona Siddons has made a mistake, and she's dropped back to P18. So I think Adam Fox is now running second. And just I'm looking on through the order, so it's still Mark Oliver leading the way in that. A bit of an order shake-up on that one. And looking at another close battle as well, you've got Jason Cooper, who's showing at half a tenth behind Lee Holmes. They've got to be side by side. Yes, there we are. Jason Cooper trying to go around the outside of Druids. They've got the very fast Adam McNally behind us as well. It's a fight at the back end of our top 10, although all 3 of these guys have race-winning pace. So a very frantic battle here, showing that there's always something to be fighting for here in the BSR series, and nothing is truer than that, especially with 5 laps to go here in race 4 of the evening. The gap's still 3 tenths of a second at the front between Delmont and Cooper, as they heading in towards the twilight zone of this race.
Jason Cooper, having missed the first 2 races of the season, it was almost damage limitation for him going into the 3rd and 4th. He did a pretty good job in race number 3 of the evening, his race 2, coming in 2nd place. And as he goes around the outside, I wasn't getting too excited then, because I thought there's absolutely no chance he's going to be able to get past Lee Holmes around the outside of Paddock Hill Bend. I was absolutely incorrect, as he's going around the outside of Druids as well, because of course it takes about 3 or 4 corners around Brands Hatch. You need to actually get the move done. This is potentially his best chance though, forcing his way up the inside of Graham Hill Bend. But look at the speed that Holmes has managed to carry. This is absolutely fantastic racing here at BSR MX5 Championship, the last race of the day. But Cooper does end up taking that 9th place away from Lee Holmes. Not that easy, even though Jason Cooper, we're expecting to watch him at the front of the order, we're actually normally expecting Lee Holmes to be at the front of the order as well. So they're both basically out of position, as is Adam McNally, you could argue. So that's why Jason Cooper is not finding it all that easy to recover.
No, 3 very fast drivers, maybe slightly out of position, but it's such a strong field, and with the reverse grids here in BSR, you've got to expect at some point within the 4 races each evening, you've got to expect to be out of position at some point. Obviously, Jason Cooper only coming in halfway through the meeting as well, so he's been on the back foot, but say he might pick up some points. As I say that, Lee Holmes goes round in Graham Hill Bend. I don't think he'll lose any places actually through to that, just because of how big a gap they've got ahead of Nick Clibbons. Nick just catching up towards the back of Lee now, but he's back up to speed. But yeah, just looked like a silly, slow spin there for him. Maybe just carrying a little bit too much speed in, or clipping the grass on the way into Graham Hill Bend, as we've got 2 laps to go at the front, and the gap's just opened up ever so slightly, coming up to half a second now. So still not quite home and dry for Adam Delmont, but he's just managing it, just keeping Luke Cooper barely at arm's length, but just far enough back that no silly lunges coming in on the brakes. Using so much road on the way out of Graham Hill Bend. I've not got used to that at any point tonight. There is an off track out there somewhere, but where I don't think anyone's found it. just yet, as we see Adam Delmont coming around to take the white flag for the final time this evening.
Yeah, I mean, there quite a few of them have multiple off-tracks, but no more than about 4 or 5, apart from Julian Schroer, who's been off the track apparently 10 times. No comment on that one. In a 15-minute race, that's quite impressive. They've only been round the track about 16 times. He's been off on 10 of those laps. Yeah, fair impressive from Julian Schroer. Oh, I think Luke Cooper must be getting a few off-tracks himself, though, because he's been throwing it off around a Paddock Hill bend. We've seen him do it at least 3 times now. He ended up, the first time, losing out the race lead to Adam Delmont. The second time, didn't really lose any time. The third time, you've just seen, didn't lose that much. Probably a car length. Probably his last hope, though, of taking victory here this evening. Adam Delmont, though, he's been on the podium twice. Both times have been second places. He's been hunting to try and get onto that top step. He's been hunting to be the 4th victor here this evening at Brands Hatch. He's been in the wars, he's been in the fights, but today he will be on the top step. He takes the checkered flag to take the victory. Adam Delmont ahead of Luke Cooper. Said Cooper would be on the podium, just got the wrong Cooper. It's number 43 in the end. Liam Silkstone ends up taking the Pro-Am victory and 3rd place overall. Jamie Gulliford comes home 2nd place Pro-Am. 4 in the overall standings. Michael Seal had a bit of an up and down day, a bit like Brands Hatch, I suppose, in the fact that it's up and down quite a lot, the elevation changes. He ended up in top 5 anyway. Greg McDonald's in 6th, Liam Stimpson in 7th. And before we get through into the final running, because we'll do that in a couple of minutes' time after the race is completed, just worth noting that the 966 of Adam Fox ended up taking the AM class victory. Fiona Siddons was 2nd, actually, as I'm not entirely sure what happened to Mark Oliver. Unfortunately, though, doesn't really matter. It's ended up in 7th place overall, 3rd in class. So, Reese, a hectic night of racing, a hectic 4th race as well, but Adam Delmont did pretty much everything he needed to do to keep Luke Cooper behind him.
Yeah, no, it's been absolutely frantic here in the MX5 tonight. Adam Delmont, my pick for the win, must be said, comes home and gets
right,
for a 4th winner of the night. And yeah, I mean, what a fantastic advert for MX5s and the fact that you can have a 4-race meeting, 4 different race winners. One thing I am glad of, I've swapped my day off at work going forward, so I'll be having a Wednesday off, which I think I'll need it for a bit of a come down from this BSR action we're having on the Tuesdays. As you can see, Adam Delmont celebrating in style. There might only be a 1.8 litre engine in these MX5s, but it's definitely enough to still do some cream donuts here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, the good thing is as well that we don't need to replace the clutches. It doesn't cost any money or anything, does it? So, fantastic to have these guys. There is the podium. Confirmation that Adam Delmont took the race victory. Luke Cooper ended up in 2nd. We have on the bottom step on 3rd place is Liam Silkstone. Fantastic drive from all 3 of those drivers. They all had their own battles to have to contend with. And here is the confirmation of the overall standings for race number 4 even. Adam Delmont on top with Luke Cooper in 2nd and Liam Silkstone in 3rd, like I just ran through. 4th, Jamie Gulliford. 5th was Michael Seal. Craig McDonald was in 6th. Liam Stimpson was in 7th. Jason Cooper ended up recovering to 8th. Adam McNally in 9th. Lee Holmes was in 10th. 11th was Nick Clibbins. 12th was Paul Cook. Adam Fox took the AM class victory and was in 13th place. Thor Tullett was in 14th with Julian Schroer in 15th. Fiona Siddons in 16th with Mark Oliver in 17th. Douglas Stewart was in 18th, with 19th being Tom Griffiths. Top 20 was rounded out by Kip Stevens, 1 lap down. 21st was Glenn Humberstone, 7 laps down. 22nd, Mark Van Dalen, 11 laps down. Andy McEwen ended up retiring 15 laps down in 23rd. James Neve, 24th, was 16 laps down. 25th, Chris Dixon, 16 laps down. And 26th, Sam Smith, 17 laps down. Now that is all she wrote for this evening. Reese, it's been one hell of a ride this evening. Brands Hatch Indy, of course, will be back later in the season to round out the entire season, actually, isn't it? It's the grand finale will be at the Grand Prix circuit, which is very exciting because it has offered us some brilliant driving.
Yes, I say it's a roller coaster of a round here. It's a roller coaster of a track with the downs and the ups, which perfectly describes a night of MX5s. I think we have got a driver coming in for interview actually just before we round on up. But before they come on in, I'm just going to steal Jack's thunder at this point and just say, obviously, this is Year One TV, so please do remember to like and subscribe if you like what you've seen tonight. We'll be back on Thursday for the TCRs from the same place at Brands Hatch Indy at the same time, so going live at 8 o'clock. And then we'll be back next week at Silverstone International on Tuesday night, same place, same time, for some more MX5 action.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done, Reese. Absolutely no thunder being stolen there. Adam Delmont, I believe, is in the building. Adam, are you with us? No, he's not. We're going to give him a couple of seconds to try and join. We've sent him a link to try and join our call. Hopefully he will jump in as soon as possible, because really, Reese, Adam was right in the thick of it for most of this evening's action, wasn't he? He ended up being caught up in that race one quite a few times, didn't he, with the likes of Michael Seal being around him, Tom Griffiths as well, I believe. So it's been a pretty hard-fought evening for Adam Delmont. It probably came out of the week being the overall top scorer, though.
I think so, yes, and I'm doing this purely off memory, so hopefully I don't get any of his positions wrong, but he finished P2 in race 1, which put him back to P19 for race 2. He then had the storming race 2, which brought him all the way back to P2. He then obviously started P14 in race 3 and made it back to, I'm going to struggle here, I'm going to say he made it back to P4, which then put him in good stead from P5, roughly. I might have lost it a little bit there for race 4, but then he did come all the way back through to win, and that much I do know for sure. So maybe the race 3 results off the top of my head are wrong there, but no, it's 3 podiums and a win. He's had a cracking night in the points, and I say he did quite well, I seem to remember, at Donington as well. So he might even be our overall championship leader. But hopefully we'll get some championship standings sorted out for next week to check that one out.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I don't believe Adam's going to be able to jump in to have a chat with us. So we're going to round out the evening. Maybe we'll have a chat with him in a week's time at Silverstone, of course. So it's about that time that we say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching. Reese has already done all the stuff about liking and following and subscribing, so there's no need to do any of that again. But a big thank you to you for watching, whether you've liked, subscribed, or whether you've just sat there silently judging us for having Copperberg in the stream. My name's been Jack Oliphant. I've been joined by, yeah, that is the right way, joined by Reese Saunders. Graham Sessford has been on the cameras and the production. As always, big thank you to all the drivers as well for putting on a show. And we'll see you on Thursday for Year One TV. But me, personally, I'll see you next week for more BSR MX5 action.